We so we started as a group that assembled. Some of us knew each other from childhood. We ran through the Tomb of Horrors. We got through a lot of it, and we basically left when we found that the world was going to end with a Seric ascending to godhood, because we basically the time dilation caused us to jump about 200 years in the future over the few weeks that we were in there. So we used an item within the throne room to kind of pull us back to our original timeline where he hadn't yet ascended, and then we ended up leaving. Uh, we were teleported out to the outskirts of the city of Luskin, and then we returned to the city we were hired from, Neverwinter. We talked to the Lord there. Uh, we were kind of taken under the wing of the one of the mages there, and we found out some information regarding a few of our backgrounds, and had a run-in with Jarlaxle, who was sent to kill us. We had found out, and we ended up escaping the city pretty quickly to go back to Luskin. Uh, we had a meeting with him because he had taken Henri's parents hostage, uh, because we had stolen a bunch of his items. So we had to barter her parents back by returning most of the items. We ended up staying in Luskin to do some work for him. Grin ran a race for a rill to kind of begin to gain her blessing. Uh, After the race, some we ended up giving a extremely evil artifact to the patron of our warlock at the time, and it was seen by a few members of a very powerful mage assembly that resided within the city. So we ended up leaving overnight as soon as possible. We ran with the help of the archmage from Neverwinter to 10 towns. Once we were up at 10 towns, we tried to gain some good favors with the locals, uh, find sort of a fresh start up there, uh, which we did in a few ways. We ended up taking out a good portion of the population within the Duragar uh, stronghold of Sunblight. We ended up destroying a Shardolin dragon. Uh, we ended up meeting with a necromancer, uh, Valin, and we ended up making our way across uh, part of the ocean to Grimskala, a small island that was the domain of Auril herself. We were trying to stop a ritual that she was doing, where basically she had enslaved the North in this brutally bitter winter, and we ended up doing these trials, passing these trials, but the very end of that area, half the party failed a check and got turned to ice within the sort of vault at the end of her trials. After we had sort of gained access to this super sacred text called the Codicil of White. So we ended up leaving with the frozen party, with the help of our artificer and a few of the artifacts we'd gotten within the Tomb of Horrors. We retreated back to a safer portion of uh, Icewind Dale, thawed out the rest of the party uh, miraculously because we were frozen by a goddess. And then basically we drew her ire in the worst way possible by stealing her uh, one of her most powerful artifacts from her domain. So as quickly as we ran into the north, we ran out because we were getting tailed by her and quite possibly an army. We ended up,
Sounds like you have a history of running from stuff.
well, running from very, very powerful things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, I'm just making a facetious anecdote because it's interesting.
Yes. Oh, but just wait, because we teleported to Daggerford, the childhood home of many of the people here, while Honor grew up in Neverwinter and Grin grew up in Hardbuckler, I believe. Um, a lot of us call Daggerford home. And when we got to Daggerford, we found that one of the dragons that you know what you do in the Tomb of Annihilation. You release about 23 ancient dragons into the world from an artifact that she recovered with the help of the party. One of them took residence in Daggerford. So after a very tense uh, discussion with the dragon, the ancient crystal dragon, we ended up leaving Daggerford and heading to Nightstone for a little bit. Found that there was some very malevolent presence there that kind of stemmed from an elder god that we released in the north that no one talks about anymore because saying their name does horrible, horrible things to the world and gives them power. Uh, so after Nightstone, we ended up going to Grin's village. We found out a little about his background, what had basically happened after he accidentally caused a mine collapse. We collapsed a demi-plane of Mistra, and Grin became a wild magic barbarian. After that, we said goodbye to his parents and traveled to Cormyr to find the Witchlight Carnival. Um, Kino has also had the added objective of finding a item there that would help her open the Well of Dragons with the help of a draconic researcher called Jandra Lathero. And basically, right now, is we're wrapping up our activities in the carnival and then preparing, or I shouldn't say definitely, but one of our paths forward is to go to Prismere. We have a lot of business to take care of right now. That's kind of spread all over the world, several worlds, but one of them's in the Feywild, and there's a few things that we have to do in Prismere, so we're kind of leaning that way.
That's yeah, that's awesome, Tyler. Thank you very much. That was actually really good.
That was
I I
impressive.
I glazed over so much right there, but it's
No, but that
that's
was great.
basically the
That was
last.
really succinct. Yep.
Thank you. So that's the
Awesome.
last roughly 65 sessions.
Yep.
Very quick
Very cool.
housekeeping. Somebody gave me a link to connect my D&D Beyond for the dice roller. Do I just paste into the chat? Where am I pasting this link that I got?
So click on the actual. Do you see on your toolbar at the top? Are you using Firefox or Chrome?
I have Chrome.
All right. So once you install the plugin at the toolbar at the top, it should have the icon for the plugin. If you click it, it should bring you to an interface that says like D&D Beyond link, character name, and the Discord plugin.
So the first step for me is going to be to install the plugin then. Or is that the link? Is that link lead me to the plugin?
No, it's a plugin through the Chrome store,
Okay. So I
and
should
the name
go.
of
I should look up. What am I looking up on the Chrome store? I'm sorry, guys.
Digital
oh
dice for
no, it's
Discord.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is my bad. You can actually roll through Operate too, but it's much easier to do it this way. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, whatever you guys let me do. So on Chrome, you want me to search out digital dice? You said.
Yeah, digital dice for
Yeah.
Discord.
Yep. What it does is it bridges the API so that you can use the D&D Beyond sheet to roll, and it'll actually put it within the Discord, and you'll be able to
Mm.
see it there instead of using Operate.
Chrome Web Store.
While he's doing that, just for housekeeping, so we don't have to stop to do this, everybody do me a huge favor. This will probably come up this session. Choose a number between 2 and 19.
7.
14.
Well, just remember what that number is. Put it like message it to me. Message me that number. That number is going to be very, very important later. Um, and once we get in, I'll explain the importance of that. But these are going to be on rolls. So if that number comes up in a roll, something may happen. So, but just
What was
message
it?
me those numbers, all the
You
ones
said
that you
2
chose.
2 to 19?
2 through 19. Yep. Cool. All right. All right. All right. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and start exactly where we left off. Do you remember? Does anyone remember exactly where we left off last time?
Brothers got taken by the aliens.
That's right. That is right. And so, so this is what ends up happening. So let's just start there. Let's start on Brothers Return. So on Brothers Return, everyone sees that same platinum column of not only shimmering light but a huge force thing. Up and hold on 1 second. Hold on, guys. This is strange. Hold on. Holy shit. We have someone. This is really strange. We have someone literally screaming bloody murder outside asking for help. Hold on 1 second. What is going on?
Oh, careful. That's cool.
Yeah, you live close to me, right, Peter?
Close. Not close enough to hear someone screaming, but I could walk to where you live in about 10 minutes.
Hold on 1 second. Actually, guys, hold on 1 second. I need to go outside. This is really
Yeah,
this
go-
has never happened
go-
before. I literally
clear
have
your
some
shit.
girls screaming bloody murder
Don't get
asking
killed.
for help. Hold on.
Don't get murdered.
Yep, hold on.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
An
crazy.
An ominous start.
I guess, yeah. Well, okay, so I guess I'll ask
Okay,
a
who's
question
gonna
while
be the
we're...
new DM?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so as part of implementing this, it's asking for the D&D Beyond. Am I just what am I loading in just the URL?
The link
of
to the character
table?
sheet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, once your character sheet's all filled out and finished and exactly how you want to use it, you copy the URL and you paste it into that section. Also, take solace in the fact I normally don't talk this much.
Well, then I probably got enough talking out of you for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lying. He talks so much.
Yeah, he does.
He really does.
Damn.
He won't shut up. Discord webhook. What's Discord webhook?
That's the
Just
link.
the name
That was
of
the first link that Tyler sent you.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
in
so
dice
I
rolls.
I must have lost it then. Okay.
Do you want me to send it to you again?
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I feel like I have to take that back though, Tyler, because when I went out to visit you guys in Connecticut, both of us talked a lot. So
You let the people with the high charisma do the talking.
yeah.
Do we
Or
even have
don't.
those in this group?
Wow. Damn. Hater.
Damn. You know what one of my characters does have though? Is 20 intelligence.
Wow, shots
Feels
fired.
bad.
So it does say still rise for this one. Looks like I'm saved. So if I roll, then you guys should see it in that roll channel now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a good way to test it. Oh, I guess I gotta ready my items here, but I'll just I don't know, strike real quick.
All right, guys. That was really bizarre. I live in a really nice area, and we've never seen this before. But it's literally this woman, I guess, screaming outside bloody murder. She's now gone. Super strange. But it's I live in the downtown area of Milford, so there's a lot of businesses and stuff by us too. It's just really strange. But anyway, so sorry about that. Yeah, I guess Peter, we'll see on the news if something happened. Like this was nuts. I've never seen anything like this or heard anything like this. It was a woman, I guess, running down the street. We even tried to like call the police or something, but I mean, there's like nothing now. It's super strange. So anyway, all right, all right, guys. All right, so let's start right where we left off. So you guys see a prismatic column of platinum energy that solidifies into a pillar of pure metallic, um, almost artisan tower that goes all the way up to the heavens. It's got scroll work and it's also got gems of different types that goes through it. And as soon as it disappears, there is a rather large, around almost 5 foot, completely sealed metallic platinum egg that stands in front of you.
What?
What? So there's just an egg. We don't see brother.
Correct. Where brother was standing, there is now a platinum egg.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that. The last time I touched an egg, people threatened to kill me.
Anui's gonna walk up and knock on it. Like, brother, are you in there?
So
Divine.
you walk up and knock on it, and sure enough, it looks like it weighs a ton and is completely solid. But as you knock on it, you see little fractures start to spiderweb out right from where your knuckle hit the first knock, and then very, very slowly, but very almost methodically, it starts to crack away. And brother, I'll let you describe yourself.
John?
All right, as
You with
the
us? Yep.
yeah, I'm here.
Good.
All right, as the shell cracks away, the former brother is technically still there. The clothes are the same. The outside's done, the hood's up, and he's, I guess, sort of kneeling down on one foot. And as he brings a hand up, what you would normally see the steel with a couple of mobile fingers is a bluish, almost purple clawed hand. And he puts one hand on the ground and sort of forces himself up. Oh, Chris, did I need to roll any of those the Constitution saving throws?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right. As he pushes himself up, he's definitely shaken, but he throws back the hood, and instead of the usual deadpan steel, almost helmet-looking visions that you're used to, it's the head of what looks like a dragon. With the close, I mean, at least for Kino, Grin, and Henri, the visions almost look like Z in its shape and form, but it flows from blue to brilliant purples to the darker indigo and the deeper spots, and the shells, each scale has a bit of a sheen to it, metallic. And think it would be actual dragon scale from a movie, but you can tell it does look like metal. As you see the rest of it, it's still woven in with different bits of steel, stone, and wood in certain places, but everything's a little bit more natural looking. Dragon scale is carved into certain areas of the wood, and where there's metal, there is now the brilliant purple dragon scale. And he sort of stands up and looks around and shakes his head a little bit, and the tines and spikes shoot up from the back of his head, filling out the rest of the visage. And he looks to Kino as he finds her eyes, and he moves his jaw back and forth a couple of times. And as you hear the plates crack and sputter, a wide-toothed grin grows across his face with white moonstone teeth.
Yeah, and around this time too, so one of the things that was a little odd is it's now past opening time, but there hasn't been many people coming into the fair at all. Matter of fact, no one besides the Witchlight hands are out. Around this time, you very slowly and subtly see a bunch of people start to cross the threshold with coats on. And the interesting thing about that is that when you guys went into the fair itself, it was a good 70, 76 degrees or so. So not exactly warm, but certainly not cold. But this is something that most of you would start to notice, is that fair people have now started coming in after this all happened. So
I'm sorry, did brother speak?
not yet.
Grin is going to draw his weapon and just say, "Where's brother?"
You're looking at him, old friend. And he sort of dusts himself off a little bit and knocks some of the dust off. It's still the same height, still the same build. The clothes haven't changed, but now he looks a little bit more draconic.
What happened?
Are you okay?
Never better. He sort of falters a little bit and falls down on one knee and goes to lift himself up, and he picks up his holy symbol and really lays into a bit of draconic for a moment in a prayer of thanks. And slowly puts down the symbol, gets back up again, and pulls his sword a little bit and just sort of uses it as a cane just for a moment, just to sort of keep himself steady.
Once Kino begins to realize and sort of piece everything that's happening together, she's going to kind of snap out of the state of shock she's in, and she's going to kind of run over and help steady you. Are you hurt?
Pain is relative, but it's a good day.
Brother, you look so cool. So now I have to change her emoji. Shit.
And he brings his hand up and looks it over, and slowly looks over his farm, and he's just says very softly, I feel a bit more myself now.
You kind of look like Z. I hope she's doing
Well,
okay.
last I heard, she's fine.
That's good. I miss her.
You guys do start to hear now. The fair has slowly but surely started to come alive again. That very familiar smell of some kind of sugary treat, probably something akin to cotton candy, but also a buttery sweet smell starts to basically fill the air. You also see that there are now a bunch of patrons walking through, mostly adults this time. All of them have some kind of fur or coat on with them, and as they get into the fair, you see that some of them are tying it around their waist or taking it off. And it's this time before when you guys got into the fair, now granted it was a little later, everyone's kind of running around and getting things like basically racing to ticket booths and other things to try out the games. People are walking in a little slower and more methodically. And there's only maybe a third of the people here than were here yesterday. But this could also have something to do with the fact that it's still very early. Um, you also notice the Witchlight hands are studiously getting everything together, still cleaning, going through and basically doing their rounds for the day, getting things set up. It seems like they were also a little caught off guard, and they're running late too. So you guys probably have like 5 to 10 minutes before the fair starts up, like its own things to do something amongst yourselves. So I'll give you that time. But you're going to have to get out of it. You know that you're going to have to get out from behind the tent area too, especially once the mystery mine opens up. So so you'll have around 5 or 10 minutes in this area, and then you'll have to get off into the fair proper at that point, or risk being ushered in by the Witchlight hands and scolded or whatever. So
But brother, seriously, are you hurt?
Not that I know of.
All right. Well, if you feel any ill effects, let me know.
The people who are coming into the fair wearing coats, do any of them have any kind of like insignias or symbols on their clothing?
no, so go ahead and make a perception check for me.
17.
Right. So you don't see any kind of affiliation. If anything, you were looking for instance, like Lord's Alliance and Tarnum, any of the other factions that you're familiar with. You don't see anything obvious, but you do notice again that there's a bunch more adults than there were children this time. And you also notice that as people come into the fair, they are rubbing their hands, getting their breath warm, and then they're like relieved once they hit the fair, as if it's much colder on the outside. And then you also, one of the other things that you notice by going around the thing too is that you notice there are a decent amount of people that are armed this time, that you didn't remember people being armed before, but they don't make it into the actual Witchlight Fair with those weapons. What they end up doing is they get stopped before they enter, and it looks like they are having to take swords and other things over to the lost and found area. You wonder to yourself silently, Kailana, if maybe you were allowed to keep your weapons because you guys happen to have crystal VIP tickets. So, but you're not sure.
Chris, I messaged you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I can't see it yet, but soon I'll be able to.
Do we
Nothing,
wanna
Tyler, for that.
do we
Okay.
wanna sort out or try to figure out more what happened with the guy who had been running the mystery mine? Because we probably only have a few minutes to take a look at his wagon.
Yeah, and you don't know what's going to happen. That's a great point. So as you ponder that too, Whirl, you think to yourself, what's going to happen with this? Will it stay closed? Or what are they going to do with this thing? Because again, he's missing.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look over the wagon, I can lend a hand.
How big is the mechanism that he has that controls it?
So the mechanism, it's pretty big. It's around a good 20 inches. So it's not something that, like, if it was on the ground, you'd see it from where you were. This is something that's substantial still, this eye.
Does it look mage handable?
You're not sure. You don't know if it's heavy, if it's too heavy for mage hand or not. You think it maybe could be mage handable, but you'd have to try it.
I will try.
Well, so to be clear, you don't. Oh, are you talking about you're just peering into the actual wagon in the back and trying to like open the
Yeah.
door, but not in the threshold? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so you go through and you do summon mage and you go through to reach out. It looks like it's you get a little bit of the edge to like pick it up, but it's too heavy. It clinks right back down.
But the ride is half
The ride is
closed
not
up
open
right
yet.
now.
The ride is not opened yet. No one has taken his spot yet. The ride is not operating as it stands. Sure enough, there are people that are coming through and very curiously looking through. Some people are peering at you guys as well in the back, seeing that you're in an area that's kind of off limits that they can see when they get over to, for instance, this area here, and they're curious. But these tents have not opened yet.
If we just want to get the little object out, I could try to cast telekinesis and pull it out.
Yes, please.
Um, then I will attempt to do that.
Okay. All right. So you go ahead and let's see. Read me the actual description of that really quickly. I'm bringing it up right now.
Um, it's kind of long. If you, it's like 3 paragraphs for various things that you interact with.
No, it's fine then. Hold on. I can check with your spellcasting to Yep. So how are you going to try to manipulate this with telekinesis? Just tell me exactly what you're going to try to do. You're going to try to pick it up and make a straight line out to the from the threshold to the doorway?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd like want to lift it up, just maybe a foot off the floor, and then I'd probably be trying to be careful with it, so kind of slowly pulling it. Yeah, just straight out
Maybe
the
don't
doorway.
touch the sides.
Yeah, if Kino pointed that out, it's probably a good idea. We don't know what's going on with the mirrors and whatnot in there.
Sure. So you very carefully lift it up, and you are careful not to like hit any of the sides or anything else or any of the mirrors that are in there currently, and you slowly bring it to the threshold of the door. And just before it hits the threshold, it's as if like a just sheet of glass is there, and you clink it, and you go through, and you try again, And when you try it harder this time, it actually goes to fall, and you catch it with telekinesis again. But for some reason, it's not reaching the threshold.
Well, I don't have a lot of explanations. Usually this works all the way through. There's some sort of barrier here. I also can keep the telekinesis up for about 10 minutes. If anyone has any ideas for what else might be going on here.
So, and as you say that, you notice that there is a rather large 6'5", pretty burly, um, uh, humanoid creature that comes up to you that's in a Witchlight Hand uniform. He does look like he is possibly a bugbear, although his features are just a little more humanoid than you've expected if any of you have ever like come across a bugbear before, and certainly more humanoid than the bugbear you met recently. Um, he comes back to you guys and he says, "Oh, just so you know, we're starting the fair up, and we can't have people back here. What are you doing? Should I go get Mr. Witch, Mr. Light?"
No, we're gonna go do some rides and games now.
Would you be able to get us a barricade to Zafixo is unavailable at the moment. He might be for today. Any way you could just kind of stop entry to his ride for the time being?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Light already took care of that. We're gonna close this whole thing off. That's actually why I came over. I'm getting ready to do that now. Just keep in mind though, that's kind of why I want you guys out of here, because it's gonna start. They're gonna be asking questions like, "Why are they back there?" And I can't do the ride, and I have to deal with all that. So
Consider us gone.
okay, so go ahead and move your guys' tokens to where you want to be in real time, and all right. All right. So you guys start to walk out. Now there's a pretty big crowd. Everyone is still looks like they're wearing some kind of like winter clothing. Um, and there are many people now. They're in this entire vicinity right now, just through foot traffic alone. There are roughly uh probably 50, maybe 100 people. It's starting to get a little packed now going through it. Out of all the voices in the crowd though, and out of a lot of people that are coming through, one voice again raises through the crowd louder than before. Kaitlani, you vaguely remember this voice from yesterday too, but you hear this adult man say, "Who? This time? This stinking evil carnival! We will win, and their magic will not prevail! Winners will win!" And you see him go through and walk this way over to this stall here. It looks like he's going to get his ticket punched to go through and grin. He actually sees you first, and he goes through and he looks at you and he says, "Oh, wait, friend, come here real quick."
Grin goes over to him.
Yep. He says, "So, I see you are a fellow barbarian. Have you won prize yet?"
Yeah, I won this wand that I used up, and I have a little hat for my finger.
All right, this is what he looks like too. So he actually looks at you in a little disbelief. So this is a rather large guy. So he's around 6 foot. He's around 6'5", pure muscle. He's got a bald head. He's got a very distinct pink almost tattoo. I'll actually show you what he looks like in a second. But the thing that's strangest about him is that he actually on his shoulder there is a very tiny rodent on his shoulder that's going through and squeaking next to him, and he looks like this. Oh, that's weird. Hold on, it's not posting. Hold on. Let's see. This is fine. I'll just give you this one. This one's actually better anyway. This is from the actual game. Hold on one second. So this is what he looks like. But he's a rather large guy. Looks like he's seen a bunch of battle. All right. And he says, friend, I have tried every day to win a prize. And then he looks at the so this is another thing that's interesting to you, Grin. As he points over to this stall here, you notice that the witchlight hand that was here before is different now. Now it's like a small gnomish girl going through, and she looks like she's running this tent. And he says, and these people are tricking me. And he says, so you do yours, I watch, and then I win.
Okay. Why don't you relax, and I'll see what I'll see what this is about.
Okay.
Grin's gonna approach the booth. And if it's a gnome, if it's a gnome, he'll speak to them in gnomish, like, "Hi, what do you got going on over here?"
Yep. And she says, "Oh, this is an easy game." And she points over at so this is the game that you saw before, Grin, where there are these there are many like rabbit almost like creatures that are made out of wood, and they have a unicorn horn on it. Let me get you the visual for this so you can see it as well. Hold on one second. And this is the ring toss. So you just have to essentially throw the ring and make sure you get it. Give me 1 second too. I don't know why this isn't coming up, but hold on. All right. Okay.
Grin, you didn't play this game with us before? It was really easy.
I don't remember playing this game.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Grant, I actually don't think you did play this game last time. I don't think you were the ones that did, but I could be wrong. So do you want to show her the ticket and have her punch it?
Yeah, of course.
Now remember, yours is because you have a VAB ticket. You basically have unlimited tries. This is not one of the ones that actually has the little snowflake thing that you have to take off. So what she's going to do is she hands you 3 rings. The rings are all made out of what looks like a heavy brass like material that looks like it's made to look like gold, and she hands these to you. And then she explains that all you have to do is throw 3 of these, and you just need to make 2 to get a prize.
Okay, great.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a dexterity check. You don't get to add your proficiency to this one, unfortunately, but unless you want to give me some kind of like acrobatics, but then you have to explain what you're doing. But that's a pretty good roll, 25.
I didn't roll yet.
Oh, sorry. Who? I saw a roll in Discord.
I finally got a chance to get it working.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Eric was
All right.
testing.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries.
I've already entered the building.
Yeah, cool.
I don't have proficiency in acrobatics. I'm trying to think of a way I could use athletics because I'm real good at that.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Hurdle over the whole thing and just put it on.
Yeah, that might break the rules, but that would be one way. Yep.
If I backed up as far as I could and then threw it as hard as I could I use athletics? Like from down, from down the field.
So if you wanted to literally throw the ring as hard as you could from the back of the area and try to bounce it off it, I will let you use athletics, but it's going to be a very high DC to get this. It's probably better that you don't. Yeah.
I'll just roll dexterity.
Okay. Yeah.
9.
I do like the idea of Grin like kind of gauge what's the best way for him to throw this. He's like backing
so
up. Like now.
you go to throw it around the thing, and you hear Sonny's like, "Oh, Boo! See, I told you, I am. He's a wicked. These witches, they do these things. They make us buy money for tickets, and then we get no prize.
Guy, take it easy. It's all right.
He says, he says, yes, I do. Boo says so too. I get too excited over these things, but I want to win.
Count to 10. Focus on your breathing.
He says, oh, okay. I do that.
Grin's gonna like he's gonna give the person working the booth like, you know, the eye like this guy, you know, like
Yeah.
and then he'll try again.
Chris,
Okay.
is the rabbit teleporting around yet?
No. As a matter of fact, Grin didn't get that option. So, you privately note this to yourself.
Yikes! I got a nat 1 on that one.
Oh, he's
Okay,
got
so
two
you
people.
go to throw the ring, but before it even like hits the threshold, it literally just bounces off before it gets inside of it and just drops on the inside. It still counts as one of your throws, and he says, "Oh, better luck next time, friend."
Yeah, I don't think it's magic. I think I'm just bad at it.
He says, "No." He says, "This is the problem, though." And he goes and he starts talking in some other like squeak thing to his rodent on his shoulder. You're not exactly sure what he's saying.
Squeak, squeaker, squeak 'em.
Something like that, yeah. This is what it looks like, by the way. This is what you're actually throwing these things on. If you remember, Gren, you can look at it in Group A.
Right. Oh, I remember that now. Yeah, I think I did play that, didn't I?
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
you
think
did.
you did.
Yeah.
What was I doing instead?
The eye, weren't you?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think you're trying to do the one where you have to be nimble and quick. I think that you were better at the I one, and I didn't catch your name, but I think you would be better at the I one as well.
He says, to be honest, I have not won one. He looks pretty
We can change
disappointed
that.
at this.
1-1-1.
How many
I'm
of the
gonna.
games have you played?
He looks up and he says, "Oh, all of the games. I have played every game." He says,
You want to arm wrestle for like a gold coin? Would that make you feel better?
"Mm, maybe later." He does he stops what he's doing though, and he says, "Well," he says, "if we friends, you look strange to me, but whatever. Let's talk about what is going on outside."
Okay.
Grin's gonna
Everyone's wearing coats.
look around like, aren't we
Weird.
outside?
Yeah.
He says, "In here, it is different temperature than out there, and that's what I want to talk about." He says that, and I did want to win a prize today, but boo, it doesn't look like this is in the cards for us.
Where is out there?
He says, outside the fair.
No, I got that. I mean, like when you leave the fair, where are you?
Oh, he says, well, we are, what is the name? Oh, Cormier. We are in Cormier.
Okay, so we haven't moved.
He says, no, but it's very chilly out.
Well, it's winter.
No, it's still. It's not supposed to be like jacket temperature. Not.
Isn't it late November?
So it's mid-November, but it's only gotten to the point where it started to fluctuate. It hasn't started to snow yet or anything, and it hasn't even breached past 50 yet. You guys actually came in on a relatively temperately, like, good day. It was around 70 to 74 at the highest going through this, but this is pretty normal. Late November is when it starts to really drop in this area of Cormier.
Maybe we just hit a cold snap.
He says, maybe, but also maybe the world just got super cold. He said, this is what I need to figure out later. He said, the Knights of Bahamut, we do things for justice.
Your brother's head almost snaps in his direction.
Yep. He says, oh, you've heard of the legendary Knights of Bahamut?
Kino's gonna spin around to the booth behind her.
It's been heard in passing.
He says it's quite new and old.
Brother, is that a thing that you're involved with?
Shh.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he says, well, he says, but tell me, friend, you know of the Knights of Bahamut? He says, wait, do you know of the legendary warriors of Rashomon? In the Utter East, Rashomon, famous? No, no one's ever heard of us.
I'll roll a history check.
Yeah, go for it.
9.
Yeah. Now, there are a bunch of smaller barbarian tribes. You have heard of the Reghead tribe, but you've never ever heard of Rashomon before. He says, Hurley, maybe you've heard of Minsk, savior of Baldur's Gate?
Quick question.
Yep.
One of my teleport circles is for Rashomon.
Yep.
Like I would know that it's for Rashomon, right?
Yeah, you would definitely know it's from Rashomon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
he
wouldn't be
said he's from
something.
the nation of Rashomon. He's a barbarian tribe from the nation of Rashomon.
That wouldn't be a roll I could attempt, would it? History.
You could try. You could try to do a history check. It's a pretty high DC for you, but you've spent a lot of time looking at books, so yep.
Could I also
He says,
No,
"Yeah, go for it. Go for it."
I got a 7.
Ugh, 19.
All right. So you do know roughly where Rashomon is, but you've never ever heard of his specific tribe in Rashomon. You do know that it does actually. There are a bunch of fabled warriors because the land is a little harsh there. And you do know there are several barbarian types in Rashomon, but you've never heard of this one. He says, maybe Boo, what can we tell them so that they know us? He says, Abdil Adrin, we helped the ball spawn before the time of troubles. And you may ask, why am I not 200? Well, I turned to stone, but I got better. And now I'm here, and I want to help the Knights of Bahamut.
You got turned to stone?
He says, I did, and me and Boo still do not know exactly who did it, but a very nice sorceress came along, and now we are not stone.
Did you get a name for the sorceress?
Oh, Boo, can we trust this one? And he looks at the rodent next to him again. He says, Boo does not know if we can trust you.
I mean, that's fair. I was just curious. I can also do magic, but that just seems like really strong magic, so I thought it sounded really cool.
He says, and the sorceress that did escape, made us not stone, so I guess it's like escaping stone. She didn't know how she did it either. So,
Did she do it on purpose?
no, it was a mistake. Funny story. I mean, it's a little boring, but long story short, I came back after being a great hero, and then everyone forgot about me, and they thought that the statue that I was someone made because I left, but it was me. It's so funny. So funny. Sometimes justice is funny, Boo.
Are there still Knights of Bahamut around? Like, are you the only one, or?
He says, funny story that. He says, there are a few Knights of Bahamut, but we'll get bigger. We will get bigger. And he says, I have forgotten. I have not even given you a proper introduction, Boo. And he takes out this very small rodent, and he says, Boo is a legendary miniature giant space hamster from the ethereal, and he is very, very powerful. So when he looks at you in the eye, just turn away just a bit, because if he gets antsy, he might Well, it's fine. He won't. He won't because he's good like me. And he puts him back on the shoulder. He said, Just be careful, just in case."
Can I do an insight check to see if this guy's crazy?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
I do
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
it's
an
a good
insight check.
call.
Your brother's
Go
just in
for it.
completely stunned silence at this point.
I'm holding up my VIP ticket to the
20.
guy running
Yep.
the eye booth.
You got a 20, right?
Yeah, I got a
So
20.
So it certainly doesn't look like he's trying to be deceptive. It does look like it's possible that he has seen one too many blows to his head because as you do your insight check, considering you are perceptive too, he does have a number of scars, not only over his eye, both eyes as a matter of fact, but he has some other scars like in his head. It's possible he's had maybe one too many head blows, but he doesn't seem like he's trying to deceive you. He does seem like at least he believes everything he's saying.
Do you have like a holy symbol of Bahamut?
He says, "Ooh," he says, "I do have a holy symbol, but before I show you, which god do you worship?"
I believe
He's
in you,
talking
Tom.
to you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He says,
do you remember,
"Nothing
Tom?
evil." He says, "Nothing evil, yes?"
No, no, no. No,
He says, "Oh, I didn't think so, friend. I knew you were good."
yeah, no, no, no. I worship Iron Hand.
He says, "I do not know this Iron Hand, but Boo says he's fine, so I will show you." And he
Yeah,
digs
he's
in his
like
pack.
he's lawful good.
He digs in his pack, and sure enough, he does have a holy symbol of Bahamut. It looks like it's made out of solid platinum. It doesn't look like it was cheap.
Does it like it looks the same as the one I would recognize as brothers,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Yep. It does look like
Just
he does have.
checking.
Yep. He says, but getting back to this problem, this problem. So I heard. So he says, I. He says, I. He says, I don't want to get depressed because when I think about these things, I sometimes do get depressed because well, it doesn't matter, but long story short, a good friend of mine that is a mage sent a message in my head and said that all everywhere is cold like this, so evil must be afoot. And so I decided to come to the fair, win my prize, leave, and go fight evil.
Well,
Uh,
got your priorities in order. I definitely agree with that.
I mean that's pretty much what we're doing here.
He says, yes, by the way, this is a den of stinking evil because they changed the games. They know that Minsk is good at all games, so they make it harder for me. He says, you watch this. So he goes through and he says, okay, little girl, here's my ticket. I will win this time. And he gives her the ticket and she punches it. Sure enough, she hands him smaller rings first off, and then also you notice that as he actually goes to throw the rings, every single one of these statues start to spell it. He says, "See, what is this? Not fair!" And he goes through and does three things, and sure enough, he misses all of them. And he says, "Oh, this is so not right, not fair." And he says, "Boo tells me that if this was a normal carnival, I would be butt kicking for righteousness. But you seem like good people, so I not." And he puts his sword back.
Kylena wants to go up to the booth and try to play next.
Okay. Yes. So Kylie, go if you go through and you give her the ticket, so the game is going to be set up very similar. But she also mentions to you, she says, by the way, and she points to the very back. This is the same game that you had, Keynote. So she points to the back, and there are a group of smaller ones of these wooden like bunnies with the unicorn horns, and those are the ones that teleport in the back. And she says you have two options. You can try to get two on the ones here, or you can try to get one in the back teleporting, but obviously that's way harder.
I was actually gonna go because I was not good at that game. I was gonna go to the one with the staring contest.
Yep.
Staring
Yeah, we'll do that in 1 second. Yep.
I will do the harder ones.
Okay. All right.
So that's 3 dexterity rolls, right?
Correct. Yep. Okay,
Did
so
not do
all of
well today.
yeah, so the one that you got a 1 on, it just clinks off of one of the other ones in the back too. But you're not able to go through it, and as around this time as well, you start to know, like, so as everyone's doing this, you start to notice that the fair itself has started to dim just a tad bit. It was bright light out, but as this went through, and as this last thing happened with you, Kylena, the fair itself started to dim, and sure enough, Kino, you hear in your head, in Mr. Light's voice, saying, "Could you please come to the staffing thing immediately, please?"
Oh boy. Okay. Yep. On our way. Can I
All right.
respond?
Yeah, you can respond.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay. Yep. All right. So, is anyone going to follow Kino?
Yeah, tag along.
Yeah, if I see Kino go wandering off in a direction, I'd follow her.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Chris, can you let me know when it's noon?
Well, yep. Yep.
Oh, Chris, did you just get my text?
Yeah, let me I haven't read them all though. Hold on one second. Oh yeah. Yes. And by the way, all that stuff is good. The stuff you sent me above that, that's all good.
Perfect.
Let's see. All right. So is everyone going to follow Kino?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
If
right, so-
everyone's gonna follow, as Henri's walking away, she's gonna yell out to the guy and be like, "Bye, Mr. Crazy Man. Bye, Space Hamster."
Yeah, as by the way, as he sees everyone leave, he says, "Oh, it's okay." He says, "You come back, you help me win prize, and we will fight justice together."
Chris, while Kylena was doing her round, I wouldn't have had like a minute to just try the staring contest, would I? Before I got the
No.
message.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no, this all happens around the same time. You get over to the booth, but no, you're not able to do any of the games. So,
Yeah, no problem.
as so you start walking into the staff area, and sure enough, as you get closer to the staff area, you notice that there are a bunch of witchlight hands there, frantically talking in hushed tones. They actually see you come through. Kylena, you're able to overhear one of them say, "This has never happened before. Let's what are we going to do now?" And there's a bunch of other stuff too, but as soon as they hear you, they all shut up and say nothing. um you do see Mr. Light standing up front. He says, "Hurry, come on," and he points you back to to the their caravan. So he goes in, he opens the doors. Sure enough, when you walk through the threshold, it is much, much larger, much more elaborate than it looks from the outside. It does look like the foyer of a very large house, a mansion. Everything is immaculately set up. There are a bunch of tiny, very expensive details within not only the pillars, but also certain like art, but other things that are like knickknacks and stuff that seem like they're worth quite a bit of money. This is exactly how you guys saw it last time. Um, uh, as you guys get in, you see Mr. Witch standing there. Mr. Witch, for people who are seeing him the very first time, is a pretty tall 6'1" Shatter Kai. It looks like he's around 30 to 40 pounds overweight. He has a very serious look on his face. He's dressed really, really well. And he has a very large gold pocket watch that he's got out too. And he says, "Okay, we do have a problem here. Mr. Light is taking a break." And by the way, as he says that, you see Mr. Light almost in tears walking all the way to the end. He says, "So we need to move. Um, Something has happened. We think in the north. Um, and we need to pack up the carnival and leave. We're actually going to shut down the Witchlight Fair today. Um, Before we do that, we are going to uphold the end of our bargain. Um, but we wanted to give the group here a heads up.
Wait, what's happening in the north?
He says, so last night or this morning, we're not sure, something happened that hit the fog of our outside area, which is why we didn't know. Apparently, whatever happened was on some kind of small cataclysmic event. We're not exactly sure, to be honest. And that's why we have to leave. We're getting out of this area. So as you can see, Mr. Light is very upset. We didn't even get to run the monarch ceremony. On top of that, we have obligations every time we come to a specific area that we're not going to be able to fulfill. So this causes a bunch of complications, but it's necessary for us to move.
Did you say a small cataclysm? Like what?
Well, some kind of cataclysmic event happened. So, and I know this, and he says, and he shows you his pocket watch. His pocket watch has a very distinct crack all the way through the glass on the top. And he says, this pocket watch was a magic item given to me by Isold. This is how we pack up and move the fair. It is an indestructible magic item. It is tied to the fair's well-being. It represents the fair, represents everything that I have going on here. It's what helps me keep track of our schedule. Whatever hit us, and he lowers his voice so Mr. Light doesn't hear. We are constantly getting eaten away by whatever magic is washing over this place. I don't know if it's dangerous to any of the people around, so I suggest not making a big deal out of this. Hopefully not. But we need to leave. We need to get out of here. And sure enough, and he does bring the watch closer to you. This is a giant pocket watch, by the way. So this watch is almost larger than his hand. It's very, very large. But as he puts it closer to you, you don't have to make a perception of this, Kino. You can see it slowly but surely. There are very tiny crystalline cracks that are very slowly forming. They almost look like they are um, icicles of some kind, and then they melt and go through it. But you can see that he's right. Something is happening to the watch.
And where are you planning on moving?
He says, well, normally I don't tell people where we're moving, given our contract, but he says, how familiar are you with other places besides, well, Cormier?
More than I'd like to be.
Well, what if I told you that the place that we're moving to is not going to be anything you've ever heard of, because it's not going to be here? So that's why this is important. That's why I wanted to uphold my end of the bargain. But I do have to pack up and leave very, very soon. It takes an hour for all of these things to pack out, and plus we have to make sure that everyone leaves the fair. But before we do that, I have to take you to the Hall of Illusions.
I thought you couldn't pack up with everything happening with the mystery mine and Zafixo.
See, that's the problem. If I don't, we have to. He's gone. Because if I don't, then the entire fair could be at risk. And I'm not going to risk everything that we've built for unfortunately him. Normally I would, to be honest. If the fair wasn't in danger, I absolutely would. But if the fair has a problem, he says, I don't even know the consequences, to be honest. What if, he said, there are a lot of bad things that could happen if this fair goes, well, sideways. So as I'm sure you saw the night that you stayed over. So I don't want to risk anything. We need to do this for our own safety. Yes, will we not be able to save our companion? That is correct. He's lost. But if we don't do this, God knows what will happen. But a deal is a
Can
deal,
we ever
he
return?
says. Well, so that's the thing. Yes, as a matter of fact, when you do return, you will actually return within the Hall of Illusions. So no matter where we are, this is the promise that I'll make to you. We will return to Faerun, no matter what, so that you can at least be dropped off. But you'll also have the added benefit of being able to come out on the other side on where we are next time. If you want to stay there, that's of course fine by us as well. Normally, we can only come back every 8 years, but that's just a contractual obligation. I can literally do whatever I want, and we don't normally break the rules, but in this case, I think it calls for it. This has never happened before, ever. We've been running this fair for hundreds of years. This has never happened. And he said, please do me a favor, though. Don't mention anything I've said to Mr. Light.
You don't think he'll just kind of notice on his own?
Oh, he'll notice, but he doesn't know about the crack. And he points to the he points to the device. He says he doesn't know how bad things are. He just knows that we're moving sooner than later, and he's upset. But if he knew all of it, if he knew that we have to leave one of our own behind, yeah, he'd be a frantic mess, much more than he is now.
How much time do you think you have before you definitely have to leave?
An hour. But we're shutting all the rides down now.
All right. So we'll wrap up Hall of Illusions.
Do we have any
Yeah.
time to take a look at Suffixo's place and see if we can figure something out there before we go?
He says you do, but again, you only have an hour. It only takes us maybe 3-4 minutes to well, you'll see. It's really not that involved. As a matter of fact, I'm shutting down the Hall of Illusions. I'm walking you right up to the you'll see.
But we definitely can't do snail racing then.
Sorry, I missed that. Say that one more time.
We definitely don't have time to do snail racing then.
No, unfortunately, the snail racing is going to be shut down immediately. They take a while to corral back into their pins anyway. You'll see. Once I start the watch up, it's actually pretty meticulous. I will let you stay around for this so you can see it yourself. And I am deeply sorry that you did not get a chance to finish the fair. But I stress this: this has never ever happened before.
Do we get to keep our tickets for the next time that we come here since our trip got cut short?
Of course, he says. Of course. You can keep your VIP tickets. Yep. He says you'll have another chance at the fair. He says, I promise you that. Whatever business you have in the other place, if you come back, I'll give you another chance at the fair. That's the least of my concerns here. So at this point, you guys notice that Mr. Light has actually started to like quietly sob in the back, but he's doing a bunch of things that look relatively important with his wand. You're not exactly sure what he's doing, and he's doing some kind of ritual. There's no mistake about it. Because he does have chalk that's outlined in a circle, and he's doing other things as well. Um, and by the way, Mr. Witch does say, so listen, I don't mean to throw you out, but the hour really does start right now. I will let you use the entire hour, and out of game, we're going to use that hour in real time. You have an hour in real time to do whatever you guys want to do. Um, and then that's it. Then I really do have to pack up. It'll only take me 3 or 4 minutes to do what I need to do. And good luck. Good luck. I wish I could tell you more, but about the whole thing. But as you can see, I'm still under some kind of effect. And he takes his he takes his fist and he presses it really really hard against the cane. And he says, "This." Anyway, so do your best. And like I said, if you end up actually fixing things on the other side, well, then we will certainly be able to talk much more openly.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Right. What do you guys want to do first? So you guys walk out. Yes, sure enough, the Witchlight hands have already started to clear the entire place. You actually hear everyone's cleared. You hear that there's fighting going not physical fighting, but back and forth quipping between the barbarian that you guys just spoke to. The last thing you hear is, "Oh, I cannot believe this!" as he's walking out. So, um,
Oops,
but
we need to help that guy.
If I
but they
pass
are
him, I
yeah.
just want to give him a piece of the magical fake candy that I got. I'm just gonna palm it in his hand as
You can't. So he's still he was the one giving them the hardest time, and he's big enough that even the Witchlight hands, when they started to like physically go through, he's kind of still like he wants his fair chance at it. So you have enough time if you want to run up. Um, he says, "Oh," he says, "Wait, you were with that group before?" Oh, he says, "What for me?"
just gonna wink as I walk by.
Oh, he says, "Boo! Some woman just gave me candy. This is a good day." And he starts walking out.
See, you got a prize.
I guess
All
he
right.
couldn't smell your taint.
All right. So yeah, he's so what would you guys like to do? Let's go over to Albert. What would you like to do?
You
So
should probably.
the rides aren't going to be available, right?
No, the rides are all getting closed down.
So our options are the
Out of
booths.
game, you are now out of game. You are also now synced to Group B. So this is the same timeline, Group B, as you walk outside and see whatever event happened. Same thing. So anyway,
All right. At some point, I would probably get Sio's message, so you probably see Kino kind of preoccupied for a moment.
yep, yes, yep,
For the most part, we haven't done these booths, right?
correct. Yep.
Um, which of these ones have we not done yet?
You have done all of the ones through there. You've
Okay.
already done all of this. Yeah.
So
You
basically,
haven't
our
done
option
each
at the
individual little cart, but you've done the majority of the rides here. All these are closing up anyway. The small ones close up quickly. You might be able to catch certain things happening as they close down, but you won't be able to do any of the rides.
Let's see if we can get one more game in, like at one of these booths up here.
I like them all with stars. That's cool.
Well, so you guys go through and walk up, and this is what you notice. First and foremost, there are all of the Witchlight hands at this point are actively like scurrying people off. Most people are now gone. There are a few stragglers, but it's literally just like children that they have to catch and go with their parents. You also notice that the you also notice that like everyone's out now too, because you also see as you pass this booth, you see you see that there's also the owner of lost property. She is out, and she is going through and basically teleporting, blinking in different places to try to find something, it looks like. Um, as you get up to go through these, unfortunately, you realize that all of them are either in the process of closing down or closed. What do you want to? So this one is an elder. There's an elderly man that's still closing up. The one in the star there. He's very very thin. Looks like he's around 60 years old. He's in a white robe.
I mean, I feel bad. I don't want to like stop them as they're cleaning up.
We'll be
You want to
quick.
say something to him?
Henri isn't gonna.
Okay.
She's just gonna be like sad that it seems like they're not really gonna be able to do anything.
As you guys get to this area, by the way, you do notice that there's a large lake over here, and there's whatever this thing. It looks like it's a giant clamshell. Inside of it is a very very large glass bubble, and there is a mermaid like figure jumping out of the bubble now and going through the lake here. It looks like she's got tasks that she's doing, picking things up and doing other things. But other than that, you also see that in the carousel over here, there is a woman that looks like a centaur. She's also very dutifully picking things up and getting things together as well.
All right, who let the centaur man the carousel? I feel like that's insensitive.
Yeah, do you want to go? Do you guys want to go say anything to her?
I'm gonna go speak to, and I'm sorry, I've already forgotten the Displacer Beast name. But I'm gonna go ask her what she's looking for.
Durlagron.
Durlagron.
Yeah. So you run over on the other side to talk to Durlagron, and she says, "Oh, very busy, but how can I help you?"
Do you need help with anything?
She says, "Oh, she says I actually lost one of our Witchlight hands who gets nervous every time that we go to." He says it's fine though. I think I know where she is. She's a gnome, and every time that we go and start moving, especially if it's not on the normal schedule, and it's only ever been 5 to 10 minutes off schedule, she gets a little antsy and gets a little nervous and literally starts to run. And I'm just looking for her, but I'm sure everything will be fine.
Okay. Well, uh, Anya's just gonna like go to Grin and climb into the backpack. Like she doesn't know what to do at this point.
Yep.
Him not completely understanding how it works. Those of you who understand Draconic would kind of at first see Fentrix start to like chuckle under his breath before he kind of breaks out into like a full on like doubled over laughter to where he starts crying. um Before he tries to like stand himself right back up before kind of cursing under his breath. He'll then kind of turn to Henri and Whirl and Kino, who are the more magically inclined people that he talks to. I don't know if you guys talk.
Can anyone hear Tyler?
Oh, did I turn myself down too much?
You're a
I
little
can hear him.
quiet.
I can
Yeah.
hear him. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
If
that
you could
that
turn
was
it up a
my
little bit.
headset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. There we go. Is that a little bit better for you guys?
Yeah, that's better.
Perfect. I was messing with settings before you said you pick up the keyboard. Um, but he'll kind of turn to the more magically inclined people. So I guess is it really everybody other than Kylena?
And Grin.
Well, I mean, Grin's not really that magical yet.
He's got a little something in him. Though.
Excuse
It's
me.
there.
He's got a
I am
magical
like
personality.
spiritually connected to the goddess of magic,
Yeah, but you haven't learned how to use it yet.
or something.
But so I get messages from Sio from time to time. She kind of lets me know how like her and Gretna and everybody over there does.
Yes, I just
Okay.
talked to her as well.
Yeah. So do you want to take the cake and walk everybody through it? I'm probably gonna mess something up somewhere along the line here.
There's cake.
I mean, I wish.
So, you go first. I didn't get much. I was asking her about Prismir a little bit.
Yeah.
What did she tell you?
Well, Azrael and all those other people that I traveled with are dead. Which
What?
the irony of that, I guess. She
Aw.
told me that how do I want to word it? I was told that someone named Strahd killed the ice goddess that was causing all the issues up north in Icewind Dale.
All right, I'm bringing this into a tight huddle as he starts mentioning this.
Apparently,
Wait, Strahd, you're sure?
I mean that's what she's told me. She's never lied to me in the past. So
Strahd killed a rill?
that's what I was told. Apparently, the others were there whenever it happened. So I'm going to assume that the crazy looking mage that I had met briefly that had talked to us was also around the area when whatever happened happened. But she said that Azrael stopped responding to her messages. And that the event that Strahd caused was felt to a desert called Calimport, which is where they are.
Oh, they're far. Oh no.
Which, I mean, considering what we were just told in the tent, do you think the two things could be connected?
I would say it's a little more than a coincidence. Oh shit. This is really bad.
Yeah, it snowed in the desert, apparently. I didn't think it could do that. I was also told one other little thing. that someone named Tasha, has her brother under control, and they might be in Prismere, which is where we were going. Correct? That was the other bit of information I had.
Yes, I heard a bit about Prismere.
But
Uh,
I've got nothing else.
well, she said her brother was a disappointment and she needs to avoid Tasha, so I can understand that now. She didn't know anything about. Okay, we gotta get going. We gotta double time it.
Do you guys ever just have like a normal day, or
This is pretty
Oh,
normal.
What are we
think so.
doing right now?
I mean, if we're just trying to move it along, should we go get them to take us to that hall? If we're trying to hustle, we shouldn't take the
Yes.
hour.
I think if we're gonna
We
take
should
the
probably
hour,
move quickly.
I mean, Kylina, did you want to look at the tent? Because we gotta move. This is bad.
Well, do you guys want to try to save the guy that's stuck in there, or is it not worth it?
I would say give it 10 minutes. Let's walk.
You know, there's a silver lining. At least we don't have to worry about Ezreal and all them chasing after me.
That's
No, the
true.
fish that was chasing us got eaten by a much, much bigger fish. So,
Like a shark.
Oh, shark tastes good though. You ever had shark?
Does it? I've never had
Yeah.
shark. I think sharks are
Oh,
cool.
good too.
Okay, so you guys are walking towards the walking back towards the mystery man. Yep. So okay, so at this point, everyone is almost gone. The fair is also starting to pack up. What you notice is that maybe through magical means or not, but certainly it seems that way, things have started to move very slowly on their own. The Witchlight hands are all out, dutifully doing their own things, but little pieces of, for instance, the woodwork and other things have started to now slowly float and undo themselves as they start to pack themselves very, very slowly through this. Not only through the areas here, but also even small things like, for instance, in the Hall of Illusions, these tent ropes have started to come up, but the Hall of Illusions is still up. And very slight, subtle things. Even in this area here, you notice that the slats have started to basically unscrew themselves. However, they were fastened before, and have started to become loose. This is all happening on its own. This is very, very impressive magic for you, Amanda, because the reality is whatever's doing this is affecting a very complex amount of things that need to be taken apart, but it's also affecting the entire area. So it's a very large area. So this is very powerful magic at work.
Ooh, cool.
Henri, you should get Butterball to focus their vision on the tent, see if they can identify the barrier, the mirrors, anything.
I'm gonna
You,
ask
you want to take
Butterball.
Butterball out?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if she like sees anything.
She's normal size now, so she was back in your
She's
thing.
been normal size
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, she comes out and she says when she looks and she says that is very bright, and she points to the entrance. Um she tells you it's magic. She will telepathically tell you she doesn't know exactly what it is, she just knows that it's bright.
The entrance to what?
The entrance to the
Ah.
you're having her look at the entrance to the
I was just having her
to
look around to see if she saw anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, if she looks around, she'll tell you that there's brightness all over everything right now. But just the ground is not bright, but everything that is an object has brightness around it.
Okay.
But when she looks in the open door that's still open in this caravan here, this little wagon, can't even look through it because it's so bright. She would have to literally not use that sense to even see normally. It's way too bright. So there's some kind of magical barrier in that area. So
Something that could be dispelled?
I thought that stuff like that we weren't really supposed to be casting.
I think there's a lot of things happening right now that aren't supposed to be happening. I would say if we're gonna try it, we should try it now.
You want me to try and dispel the door?
I mean, otherwise, it seems like there's nothing we'd be able to do for this guy.
Smoke them if you got them.
I'm gonna try and dispel the door then.
Go for it.
Before you
Yep.
do that, can I cast Warding Bond on her?
What does that do?
Basically gives her a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws, and she has resistance to all damage, but it splits it between the two of us.
Oh, right. Yep. Cool. Yep. Yep. All right. Go ahead and try to dispel it.
I'm gonna use a point of lucky.
Okay.
Ugh, God. 17.
All right. So, you go to dispel it, and sure enough, it does actually bring the whatever that spell was. It dissipates in a force of basically like just forced air. It puffs out, and it looks like it succeeded.
Whirl, try your pulling it out magically again. The object. Start with that.
All right. I will. Gonna look at my character sheet because I got to spend 5 sorcery points to cast telekinesis.
Yep.
But I'm gonna cast it again and try to pull the object out.
Okay. All right. So you are able this time to go through and completely take the object out. What do you want to do with it?
I guess first thing is I'd want to just take a look at it before. I assume touching it's gonna be fine, but I would want to just give it a once over to make sure it doesn't look.
Yep. Yeah. So, it is a giant. Like it looks like a giant golden on the outside. By giant I mean it's like 20 inches, 21 inches. It's like a giant golden eye. It's got two of these like essentially handles on each side so you can hold it. It doesn't look like it's like exuding any kind of like dark energy or anything. It does look just like the all-seeing eye that at least he said it was that you saw before. So um, it looks the same.
Like, all right, we got this thing, and I'd probably still keep it floating for a little bit because I can keep the spell going for 10 minutes. Does anyone have a tip for if we might make use of this, or do we want to see if Butterball can pick up anything from the mirrors inside the wagon?
Henri, can you communicate with Zafixo?
I can try.
Maybe see if he's available.
Okay. I will try to cast sending at Sufixo. What do you want me to say, Kino?
His current state, his location, what happened.
Okay, so where are you? How are you? How are you doing? What happened? Why is your ride here but you aren't?
And how can we undo it?
And how can we undo it?
Yep. So you wait 5 minutes, nothing, no response. Do you want to wait another 5 minutes or?
After 5 minutes, I'll say to Kino that Sufixo still hasn't responded.
All right. We might be out of luck for this then. He might be trapped, but should we try identifying this item?
What does the item look like again?
It's a 21-inch. The eye is made out of glass, and it's a giant glass eye. But on the other side, like on the covering of that eye, is a brass or gold covering that's made to look like an eyelid. And then there are two handles, north and south, on this thing, so you can literally hold it up and have it peer into the people. That's what you guys were looking at before you went into the ride. He was holding the eye.
I mean, we could. I just don't know if it has anything to do with the mirrors.
Are the mirrors doing anything? Like, are they glowing green or anything still?
All of them are glowing green. Yeah, the mirrors are glowing green. And they don't look like they're reflecting anything from the other side, but you'd have to go inside to really see that. You have to see if they reflect your image or whatever. So
I mean, there's already one evil copy of me walking around. You guys want me to go check and see if there's a
Not
anything weird with it?
particularly.
Kylena wants to look for like a rock or something on the ground, something that she could easily throw but isn't too large.
yeah. So there are pebbles and stuff. If you want to pick one up, there's actually small pebbles around the south end side, kind of right before you get to water. You can find a small rock. Yes.
Alright, she'd go pick up like a decent sized one that's maybe like 2 inches big, something that she could easily see if she were to throw it into the wagon and look for the reflection in the mirrors.
Oh,
So right. So are you going to throw it in between where the mirrors are, or are you going to try to throw it at one of the mirrors, or just like in the back area, so it would like knock off the the back of the caravan?
Knock off the back of the caravan. She's not going to try to hit any of the mirrors because she doesn't know what will happen if one of them
Sure.
breaks.
Sure. So as you throw the rock into once it reaches the first mirror, and there are several mirrors, but as it reaches the burst mirror, the rock disappears as soon as its reflection hits. It happens blindingly fast.
Does she see the rock in the mirrors with Zafixo?
No, you don't see the rock in the mirror at all, but you do notice with your perception that as soon as the reflection of the rock hit, the rock disappeared.
Obviously, she relays this information to the rest of the party.
Yep.
That's why I don't want you going in there.
oh, I'm glad I didn't go with my second idea. I was gonna get my sword to kind of hover and do its own thing. That would have been almost as bad.
Well, I didn't go in there. I threw a rock in there, and the rock disappeared.
Oh no, my sword can fly or hover. I was gonna reflect from that and see if anything was there. But
It probably wouldn't be worth testing, but there is a chance it would be fine because this eye object was fine, so possibly magic items aren't affected by whatever's going on in there. Or at least because this item wasn't affected.
you want to try throwing it back in there now that you don't have the. Oh no, because I guess you pulled it out after we dispelled the barricade, right? So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I've got that puppet of minor illusion. We've got 2 of these. I could toss one of them in there to see if that disappears.
Sure.
Seems like a solid play.
What do we think caused this? I'm drawing a blank. That's the part that's stumping me.
do we want to try and dispel the mirror too?
The problem is there's several mirrors. It's not just one.
Because I mean, I can dispel things as well.
So Kylena is going to pull out her puppet that she won,
Yep.
and she is going to toss it inside of the wagon.
All right, so you go ahead and throw the puppet in there, toss it in, and sure enough, the puppet does actually. You see the reflection in these green mirrors, and it goes through. It does not take anything. It's just there now on the floor.
That's weird.
Well, maybe Whirl was right then. Maybe magically, magical touch items don't get sucked in.
Has any of the reflections changed during all of this happening?
No, but but the way the mirrors are positioned, it's very, very hard to see the reflections, especially from where you are from the door. The mirrors are all facing each other, and they're really set to kind of reflect each other and then the room, and it's very difficult to see them because they are almost perfectly aligned. So you have to basically like angle your neck just in each direction to even see these mirrors. Otherwise, you're just looking at the edges of the mirror without the glass reflecting anything. You don't even see the green glass until you move your head around. So you just see they have like gold. They have these gold, like pretty elaborate gold-ish. You're not sure if it's really gold, but gold like metal frames that have carvings and stuff in them.
Are the carvings like legible, or are they like words?
They're
Or is
not.
it
So
just
no,
like
actually, no. So it's just this very abstract design that all of them have. They look like they were expensive at some point, but there's no runes or words carved on them at all. You guys, so for people keeping track, everyone has around 25 minutes left before you have to go and meet with Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
From the doorway, is there anything else in the tent? Does it look like he was in the middle of anything? Does it look like there is
There is a workbench, and what it does look like he might have been. It's possible he could have been working on his device. It's also possible because there are several different tools that look like they could be tinkerer's tools on this workbench. You do notice as you're looking through things that there is what looks like a half-eaten ration or sandwich or something in there, but it's very hard to see. You'd have to kind of go in to get a better look. So it's possible he was in there doing something and then this happened. It is possible, yeah.
I don't.
I could try summoning a little aberration creature and having it walk in there and see what happens.
what happens if you have it walk in there holding the scepter?
That's not a bad idea either.
Do you want to
Pardon?
risk losing the scepter?
Part of
Well,
me
we're stuck.
thinks it's what it caused it.
Oh, sorry, and it's not a scepter. You're talking about the eye, right?
Oh, is it not like a sorry, I'm imagining it as like a cane with an
I,
eye at the end.
I
No,
imagine
I
it
wish there
kind of
was
like
art.
a
I wish there was art for this. It's actually no. It's like a 20-inch eye that has a. If you think of like the north and the south poles of the actual eye, it's a glass. It's a very large 21-inch glass eye. On the outside where the eyelid would be, it's a metallic, almost metal ball, and then there's handles on the top and on the bottom, so that you can actually like hold it up.
yeah. I was imagining it kind of like a weird looking lantern.
Yeah, it is like a weird looking lantern. Yeah.
Henri, do you think it would be worth identifying this?
Sure. It's just gonna eat up a good chunk of the time we have left.
Wouldn't it eat up all the time we have left?
I thought Chris just said 25 minutes.
Yeah, so you'd
But
have 15 minutes
Identify was
left.
an
Yeah.
hour. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I thought Identify was an hour.
It's 1 minute if she could cast it as a spell if it's not but if that's only if it's prepared.
No, I just keep it as a ritual.
Actually, is it 15 minutes or 10 minutes? I forgot.
No,
15?
it's 15 for Tiny Hut.
That's right. Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's 11 for Identify.
11, gotcha. Yep.
Sorry,
Yeah,
no,
so
it's
I-
also 11 for Tiny Hut. Sorry.
Yeah, so I could just summon a little. Don't be afraid. It's gonna look like a slod. And then we could hand it the little eyeball thing and have it walk in there and see what happens.
Ooh, a slot?
What if we hand it the puppet, since we know that the puppet definitely doesn't disappear, and then have it drop the puppet while it's standing in there?
I was gonna say we know that the eye doesn't disappear. He just pulled it out of there when there was nothing protecting it.
But if it takes the slot with the eye, then we lose the thing to control the ride.
Yes.
Right, but waiting this long, we're gonna run out of time to try and control the ride anyway.
There's also a chance that still having the eye object that maybe they can actually collapse the ride now because maybe just having that in this, as I point at the wagon, was like stopping the ride from collapsing.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should bring this back to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light so at least they can pack up fully.
Well, it was packing itself up when we looked at it a second ago, wasn't it?
So so what you guys look down and see is that it does look like the actual wood is getting undone, but you do notice around that the other stalls look like they're dutifully packing up like in a substantial way. It does not look like that's happening here, but things are happening. But it looks like almost like it's stuck. So it looks like it's unscrewing pieces of wood and other things, but nothing else is happening. And you notice that, for instance, the snail race. Now that you're looking back at it, not only are all the snails now somewhere else, but that's almost completely done now. As you know, there's only 25 or so minutes left, so something is definitely wrong in this stall.
Yeah, let's bring this. I think handing it over is the only thing we can do right now.
All right, you want to walk back to the staff area?
Yeah. Or at least I'll
All
tag
right.
along
Unless,
if she goes.
Okay.
unless
All
anyone
right. So
was
it only takes
expecting us.
2-3 minutes. Yeah, it only takes 2-3 minutes to do that. So is that what you guys want to do?
Chris, if I run ahead like 20 feet,
Yep.
is there like on the map right here?
Yep.
Can I punch my ticket and get an item real quick? Or are they
Um,
all
the
locked
all
up?
the no, all the stalls are locked up and gone at this point. There's nothing. There's nothing open.
This feels like after a night of drinking, you try to find an open restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I know there was a pizza place over here yesterday.
There's no food trucks.
Yeah.
All right,
There's
I
nothing open.
will.
Yeah.
I will walk over with everyone.
Yeah, so Mr. Mr. Light is already out. Like he's going through doing something with his scepter on all these areas here. Um and he sees you and he says, "Oh goodness, you found it." And he runs up to you. And he says, "Where was it?"
It was in Zafixo's caravan wagon thing.
Yep. He takes that scepter that he has and he touches the item and it starts to like rise from your hands. And he says, "Oh," he says, "Thank you so much." And he says, "Go now, do your thing." And he takes the scepter and he hits it again, and it starts to scurry back into this area here. He says, "I thought we were going to lose this." And he says, and he gives you a hug, Whirl.
I'm glad to be of service and help out when I can.
He says, "So did you find Suffixo?"
Not exactly.
We
Are we talking
think
to
this.
Mr. Witch or Mr. Light?
Mr. Light. Did I say Mr. Witch? If I did, that was wrong. It's Mr. Light.
We think there's teleportation magic surrounding the inside of his caravan.
He says, "Oh, that is not good." He says, "No, but it's fine. I'll make sure that no one touches things, and once we get to the other area, we'll properly inspect this." He said, "Thank you so much, though. You have no idea if we had to leave this." He says, "But he says it's also very sad about Sufixto. Did no one saw anything?"
No, it looked like he was tinkering with this item in a workbench at the back of his tent when something happened. Maybe with the mirrors and the reflections. Uh, but we're all drawing blanks.
He said, "This is so strange." He said, "Ugh." He said, "Well, but regardless, thank you so much."
Okay, the
Uh,
show goes
also,
on.
don't put anything non-magical in that wagon because the mirrors will take it.
Oh, that is really, really good to know. And he says, anyway, he says, I know this isn't much, but, well, he says, and he takes what looks like a small golden acorn, and he throws it on the ground. Um, and World, do me a favor and roll a D100.
That is a 25.
All right. Okay. Um, So a flower grows out of the ground and it opens up. The flower looks like a large dandelion, and there is a small metallic golden looking egg that comes out of the ground. And he says, it's not much, but here, thank you. And he gives you the egg.
Thank you very much. This seems very cool.
He says it is one of the better prizes, but I actually don't know which one that will end up being, but it's yours, whatever it is. Thank you so much. And he goes and he starts dutifully running off and looking at everything. So he says, oh, he says, "But also call me back. Meet me back here in 10, 15 minutes. I have to get Mr. Witch as well, but we need to get to the Hall of Illusions before everything gets packed up." And as he says that, you also notice for the very first time that this area here, the water that's going through this, slowly but surely, it's actually started to roll up. And as it rolls, it becomes nothing more than a piece of cloth. It's still water until that happens, but it starts to roll all the way through very, very slowly, as if the entire water area here is rolling up into some kind of piece of like cloth or carpet.
Hmm.
And as you guys start to look around, it is pretty impressive magic at this point, because you're also noticing that the huts themselves are starting to now unravel and go into different caravans and different things floating as well. Now, there are witchlight hands that are also helping this process along, but it's very, very, very impressive, this entire operation that's slowly getting moved up. It looks like they can pack the entire fair within an hour.
Once we get into the Hall of Illusions, I want to see if I can locate the Tasha doll puppet looking thing in the case.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to start looking at that now? Do you want to go over and start looking at the Hall of Illusions?
If everyone else is heading in that way, I'll see if I can allow myself enough time.
Now that I think about
I'm
it,
in the
guys,
backpack.
when I was in the tomb, and I don't know if you guys seen it, there was like a pyre we found that was supposed to summon Tasha when
And
we
it's
burned it.
summoned CO.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the same Tasha that I was told to look out for in her message, you think? I mean, it's probably not a coincidence, right? Some big pyre in a tomb like that. It's probably the same person.
Not only that, she was told by her patron that she should avoid Tasha, so I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, there's
And,
probably.
and Kino, as you were walking over, sure enough, right? Once you get past the area where there's the open tent, there is a large cabinet, a glass cabinet. It does look like it has gold on the outside of it, and it's gleaming. It looks like it possibly could be made out of real gold. And there's a wooden mannequin of a grinning, raven-haired young woman in witch's attire, and this green flowing cape behind her. But the cape actually hovers inside the glass cabinet. At the top of the cabinet, there's a sign that reads Tasha, the wizard, known for her hideous laughter. Um, uh, it's very subtly, the entire, like the cape, everything, there's light coming from inside that glass case that is not natural. Almost like the mannequin's glowing, but you can't figure this out. Or that it's lit from the bottom in some unnatural way. But it actually catches your eye. You're like, whoa, what is that? It's pretty interesting.
I'm going to do a divine sense.
Yep. So you do a divine sense, and nothing hits.
Is there a plaque or anything anywhere I could like put a coin in or like read something?
There is no plaque, and there's no place to put a coin in with this. It's just there's a sign over that area that says Tasha the Wizard, known for her hideous laughter.
Chris, I'd like to use one of my magic awarenesses.
Yep. So read to me how that works. Is it like detect magic? What does it do?
As an action, you can open your awareness to the presence of concentrated magic. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet of you that isn't behind total cover. When you sense a spell, you learn which school of magic it belongs to.
All right. Uh, so so the entire case is encased is some kind of magic item that looks like it has enchantment magic attached to it. It doesn't. Does the spell actually tell you? Does it say if it identifies if an item is a magic item? What does it
Uh,
say?
it says, I know the location of any spell or magic item.
Okay, so it would, yeah. So uh, the interesting thing is this does not. This looks like it is some kind of item that does not come up in the sense here. So these must not be magic items. They must just be enchanted in some way.
So the case itself is a magic item, and but the stuff in it doesn't
Correct.
is different somehow.
Correct. Correct.
Okay,
Correct. Yeah.
I relay that information. Maybe the case like charges up items if you put them in it.
Maybe.
Maybe. Helena wants to pull out her ticket and kind of wave it at the case to see if anything happens.
Nothing happens. It's a good try, but nothing does happen there.
Also, Chris, I sent you a message.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me see.
Grin's gonna try and open it.
Grin,
Whoa,
that's
whoa!
not
Trying to open
yours.
it? Yeah, I'd probably stop you.
Let him do it. He's curious.
I don't want to get in trouble with the circus in the last 5 minutes that we're here.
Well, what are they gonna do? Ban us?
They could not let us go through
They
the
could.
mirrors.
To be honest, I might be confused about that. Hold on 1 second, guys. I may need to talk to Kailana in secret real quick. The answer is I am confused. So hold on 1 second. Let me drop you down real quickly. 2 seconds. Hold on.
Actually,
Eric, we'll get
okay,
to you. I promise.
Maybe not this week. Maybe not next week, but eventually.
In
Soon.
a year.
Well, in the meantime, I'm growing a real beard so I can look like my character.
There you go.
Perfect.
There we go.
I'm actively doing that.
Can I pull?
I appreciate your commitment.
If it makes you feel any better, this session was going wildly in different directions than we expected. So
Oh,
But
yeah,
they
but
all
don't even
they
worry
always
about it.
do.
I'm working on stuff in the background, and I'm not used to D&D Beyond yet, so I'm poking around. I'm writing poems for battle poems for us, so
ooh, cool.
all good.
That is some
If
dedication.
anything, this will give you a kind of an insight into how we play.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Also, John, I love New Brother. Are you still going by Brother now that you have?
Yeah,
You
sorry, guys.
haven't asked.
So one of the
Yeah.
things, Grin, one of the things that you will find on that spell. So first and foremost, that spell is also going to show you every single magic item within the party, obviously, within the group. And there's going to be a lot of things that you will be able
Well,
to ignore, right?
it would be only the ones I could see because it doesn't work on things behind total cover.
Right, right, exactly. So the things that are like out in the open that are perceptible, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So so you're going there are going to be certain things on that the party has. So if you are you looking at just the item in the case when you activate it, and also is this an instantaneous effect, or does it last for a set amount of time?
That's a good question.
I think it
Because I
lasts for
think
a
it
certain amount of time.
that's my guess
It
too.
says
But
until the end of your next turn, so that's
so
6 seconds.
6 seconds. 6 seconds. Yeah, 6 seconds. Okay.
I mean, he would look at the case, see what he sees, and then turn to the party to tell them.
Okay. Well, if you turn from the party, so anyone, so that's what I'll let every go through. What are magic items that people have on them that we'll just go down the list. So Grin, when you turn around, Henri, what do you have that's out in the open?
The crystal.
Right. So brother, what about you?
Holy symbol.
Yep. So that would glow. Fentrix.
The dancing greatsword, right?
Yep. So the dancing greatsword is out. Kylena.
Kylena's armband.
Yeah, so your armband will go, and does it tell you that the School of Magic as well?
Yeah.
It's transmutation magic, correct, Kalena? I believe that's correct.
The Wikipedia says that it has an aura of necromancy.
Oh, is it necromancy?
Oof.
Okay, that might be right. No, that is right. Yep, that is right.
Um,
Oh,
Yeah.
Chris, Brother's boots would also glow.
Yep.
Oh, fancy boots. Um,
And
if
Tyler?
I,
Yep.
sorry, go ahead.
We'll go down the list. So Tyler, you go too.
So you would see Answerer would be sheathed. You would see the Amulet of Health, and you would probably see it faintly around just the halo that Abel made.
Okay. All right.
So okay, Grin's gonna start to explain what he said about the case being magic, and then like stop and like just point at Kylena's wristband. Uh, hey, what does that do,
What?
Kylena?
What does what do?
Your armband.
This it just helps me leave the Shadowfell.
It's magic, and it looks like necromancy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I can't say that I ever really knew what kind of magic it was, but I knew it was some sort of magic.
Are you dead?
No?
Grin's gonna look to the others like for help. He doesn't. The only thing he knows about necromancy is it's like dead people, right?
Well,
Uh,
healing spells are
No.
also necromancy. Traditionally.
well, necromancy
Are they?
is just like healers that get there a little too late. That's the best
No,
description for
necromancy is a lot like being closely tied to life magic. It can be siphoning life magic to dead things or this and that, but it's usually tied to life essence. Somewhat.
He
Okay, I
okay.
take that
So
back. Cure wounds is not necromancy.
he's gonna gauge the rest of the party's reaction, and if everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, he's gonna leave it.
I mean, Fendrix would cringe a little bit. Not
I,
like
Kring.
I think right
My
now is
brother would be frowning.
not the time to be worrying about an arm thing. We'll look
Uh,
into it in the future.
yeah.
I think everything else mentioned was stuff Grin already knew about. Like no new information there.
Yep.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, it can't do anything to you unless you're wearing it, and I don't even know that it works on people if they're not Shatterkai.
But like, what is it doing?
It's tying my soul to my body.
So it doesn't reside in the Shadowfell, so you're able to go beyond.
I guess that sounds important.
No, that sounds okay. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I don't know if anyone else is.
Nope.
kind of had enough necromancy for one lifetime, but you know.
I think
Do you?
Uh, that's a 10 out of 10 from me again.
Tom on a roll tonight.
Anyway, he finishes explaining about the cabinet.
what about the cabinet?
It's magic, it's enchantment, and the stuff in it is not. It's magic, but it's different for some reason. Like maybe they're being enchanted.
Okay.
Like the things in the cabinet aren't magic items, but like maybe they're like. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to tell.
Oh, so
It's
do you think
different.
they like kept important things like just inside magic chests so nobody tampers with it?
I think we shouldn't tamper with it either.
I mean, I'm not saying I was gonna touch it.
I didn't want to tamper. I just wanted to open it.
I mean, that's tampering with it. It's closed, and then you open it. That's tampering.
It's not breaking and entering if nothing breaks. That's just entering.
Chris, does the cabinet have like a handle on it or like a lock?
No, matter of fact, it doesn't even look like it opens or anything as well. And as you guys are looking at this and going through it, you do see Mr. Witch and Mr. Light walking over to the tent behind you. Mr. Witch, though, the larger of the two, the one that's the overweight Shatterkai, he says, almost done. He says, normally this isn't a whole thing, but shutting it off, and he takes something with his watch, and so behind this area there are hundreds of mirrors, and when you look inside of it, beyond this glass cabinet, there is like a winding road that looks like it slowly like wobbles and moves, and as soon as he does something on the watch, everything goes normal. And it's like it goes like right back to where it was. There's no weird wobbly illusion. Um, and he says, follow me. This only lasts for a bit of time, but we should be fine walking through it. And he says, just stay close to me if you could. And he has everyone like huddle around him. Does everyone follow him?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
still
All
in
right,
the backpack, actually.
so yeah, so you guys start walking past what seem like 20, 30 mirrors in a straight line. And sure enough, at the back, there is this very large, ornate mirror. And in this mirror itself, you see all of your reflections, but you also see uh, another person that looks like he's like frozen in time within this mirror. Um, and if you could, Eric, go ahead and describe what your character looks like.
Hell yeah.
It's a surprise for Eric too, by the way.
Sure. So he's about 6'4". Obviously northern by the looks of his kind of fur cloak and other clothing. He has a long beard. Pretty quickly, you can tell he's older. He was probably once much mightier, but he's slightly atrophied, but very rugged. He has a longbow and a battle axe at his hip. Both look very worn. He wears also embattled half plate, and then he has a wooden symbol on his neck that you probably can't quite make out, but it's probably some deity. Oh, and lastly, he has four vertical tattoos going across his face, lines four that dominate most of his face.
Ooh.
Who's this?
So to be clear, he is completely stuck within the mirror, and as he's inside the mirror, he's not on the outside.
No,
And
no, no. So that was me assuming that like we stopped in front of this really big mirror and there's a person in front of it. So I'm asking Mr. Witch like, oh, who's
yeah,
this? Like, who's this in the mirror?
yeah, and he drops his watch, he looks, and he says, oh, what on earth? And he goes through and he looks, and it doesn't look like the reflection is moving or anything. Um, and he looks at Mr. Light, and they look at each other, and he says, "Oh dear God." He says this. He said, "Um, this has only happened one other time. It looks like while all of this mess was happening, he says, it looks like one of the patrons has gotten himself stuck. Uh, well, he says there's certainly no going back now. Um, I I don't exactly know why this happened, but well, i- um, unfortunately, this is the portal to Prismere. Uh, and see, the way this ride works is that it has the uncanny ability to show you illusions of a giant maze that you can be trapped inside of. On very, very rare cases, sometimes people get trapped within the last mirror, which most people don't realize this or know this, but this last mirror is actually a portal to Prismere. But what ends up happening is this is, like I said, only happened. It's a 1 in a million chance. It's only happened once before. All we need to do is reset things and go through it and release the person. But I can't. I can't. We're backing up. I can't undo this. I'm going to have to open the portal, and you're all going to have to go through, and I think this man here is going to be with you on the other side.
New
All
friend.
right. Yeah. Hope he doesn't mind company.
I mean, misery loves company, correct?
But we're all happy.
Eh,
Hmm.
You might be happy.
I'm happy.
Don't make
I
me
got a
make you
cool
smile,
egg thing.
Fentrix.
Do it.
It's a lot harder to make him smile. He's got a very sharp face.
Right?
And
Nice and sleek.
gross.
She would know.
What's that?
What?
Wow.
Look,
Yeah, no respect.
we're going through. We'd love to go through, please.
He says, okay. He says, good luck. He says, once you get to the other side, this is important. There is no straightforward answer on how to get back. However, and this is why this is important. Once you deal with the issue, I am more than certain you will find a way back, but that is all I can tell you without going through any kind of horrible consequence. But please read between the lines. There is obviously a way back, but for now, just do your best to try to deal with the issue that we talked about, and that there will be a way to get back. Now, the other thing that I want to explain to you, time works very, very differently within the Feywild. One thing I can tell you, and I do remember, is that something to do with emotions affect time, but also if you care about coming back to the same roughly the same time that you left, you're going to need to seek out people that are experts in that, which you will be able to find all over the Feywild. Just do whatever they ask, or do whatever, because otherwise you could have the unfortunate consequence of coming back years in the past, years in the future. It's not a straightforward line when you get into the Feywild. So that's my warning. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick before we walk through the mirror, I have one more question for you.
Yes, yes, of course.
How would Strahd get out of the Shadowfell?
It's impossible. Sure, I mean, you, you know this as well as I do. No one gets out of Domain of Dread. I don't know. He says the other thing is that, what does this mean? If Strahd can get out of a Domain of Dread, what about Isolt? This is um if listen, one other thing. If you do find out what happens, or better yet, if you resolve the issues that are happening here, please do your best to try to find out what is going on in the grand scheme of things, because when you get back, that is the next thing I'd like to resolve. um it- we made that deal thinking it was one way, but clearly if Strahd is released, and by the way, he is an awful, awful, awful creature. But if Strahd can leave, then anything can leave, and well, that's not good for us.
All
You
right,
fill
well, I'm
this
ready to
in.
go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So he says, Mr. Light. Mr. Light comes around and he says, all right, everyone ready? And he takes his weather vane scepter and he starts weaving it in the air. And when he does this, there's a bright, brilliant pulse of energy that flows all the way through the tent, and it coalesces on his staff. And he, in a very grand swirl, points it at the mirror, and it blasts itself with blinding energy. Eric, your character on the other side, you feel like you're about to be crushed. You also, something happens where you have a blinding headache, where you can't see, you're dazed, and it's really hard for you to think at this point. And all of a sudden, you feel like you're falling, like infinitely. It's a very scary, terrifying feeling. And as you guys do see this, so as the portal goes through, you see that character fall into nothingness, and then you see this landscape appear in front of you, um, and it's very green. There's a very large bridge on the other side, and you can just walk right into it, right on it. And he says, and Mr. Light says, "Hurry up now! I can't keep this up."
Thank you again for everything. Hopefully the show goes on.
He says the show must go on, and as he's doing that, you can tell that he's struggling.
Looks like it's
Give him-
time to go.
I give him a nod and I walk through.
All right, does everyone walk through?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Grin walks through last.
All right, great. All right. So everyone walks through, and this is what you guys end up seeing. Hold on. Let me bring up. I did change in Albert Radio your thing, but hold on one second. I don't know why these delay, but hold on. All right. Here we go. Yeah, it's not going to let me, but that's all right. So this is what you guys this is the first thing that you see. You all walk through, and there's this overwhelming smell of pine and other very fresh, like foresty kind of smells that come through you. Um, and then there's blinding light, and then you do feel like you're falling, and then all of a sudden you're standing on this very large bridge. This bridge is marble and gleaming white. Um, and from where you are, you can see that you're in this now almost like very foreign looking place. Um, it's very temperate, and in front of you, there is that man that you saw within the mirror. He's lying prone, clutching his head, and getting up slowly. Eric, you're now with the group.
Are you okay?
Usually when I feel this way, I've had one too many drinks. He looks around.
Oh.
What is this place?
It looks like you're going to be joining us in Prismere for a little bit.
Now, as you guys start to look down, one of the things that you do notice is that it's actually more of a swamp on the bottom side. You do see there's this very large tree stump just like out in the middle of things as you start to look around. There is a fog that's like slowly like going through this entire area. It looks like this whole area might be 20, 30, 40 miles. You're not exactly sure. Up into the distance, it certainly starts to get murky. So it looks like it's probably pretty big. Um, uh, One of the things that you notice, though, is that the light here is just slightly less than where you came from, meaning that it's almost like it's late day here. Um, and that could just be that it is late day. You're not exactly sure. It actually smells rather pleasant, though. And again, even though the downside of this, the area looks like it's mostly like swamp or so.
Oh,
Who are you people?
We're the people that got you unstuck.
Stuck where? I have no recollection. You can see him kind of moving his hand towards his axe because he's really not sure what's going on.
I wouldn't be so.
Do you remember going to the carnival?
No.
What's the last thing you remember then?
What's the last thing I remember, DM?
So the last thing that you remember is that you remember that you were in a place that you don't remember its name. You had just traveled to this nation. You were looking for work. Um, and now, as you start to like really think through things, you do actually remember that you remember seeing a fair, getting a ticket or something like that. But it's very, very like hazy and foggy. And that's really it. You don't have any other substantial memories. You at the beginning you don't even remember your name and get a little panicked, and then you remember your name. So there's definitely something weird going on with your mind right now.
Okay. He tilts his head up, almost as if he's listening to something.
Yep.
And he says, "What's that, Gaida?" "Yeah, that's right. There was a carnival. My memory of it is so bleak. I almost forgot." No, something's happened to me. I'm confused.
Does that name ring a bell?
Which name?
He probably means Gaida.
Yeah, Gaida. Sounds like he
Yeah.
was praying.
So I mean, you can make a history check if you want to.
Can I go for a religion?
Yep, you can do a religion check
Six.
too.
16?
19.
So with a 19, you would know faintly what this is. You would know enough to ask him about this. It is a god of some kind or goddess.
You just sort of look him over, like he's giving him the medical look. It's like, the name sounds familiar. Refresh my mind. What deity is that?
Gaida? No, she was my ex-lover. She is with me, but not with me anymore.
Then you think to yourself, brother, you're like, what? And you're trying to go through like all the names that you remember. And then and then you actually remember that you're thinking of a completely different goddess named Gaiana. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes more sense.
Do you remember where you're from originally?
Yeah, Cormir.
Okay. We just came from Cormir. The carnival had to move. We left. We came here. We had to take you because you were trapped in between the carnival and here. So you were forced to tag along with us.
So you did, in fact, free me.
Yes, we are your saviors.
And I thank you for that.
Don't thank us
Clear.
quite yet.
If you do not know this place, I may be of use. I was a guide with my troop. And I
A
so I
guide
have
here.
survival. I don't know if you want me to make any rolls to assess anything deeper than what you described earlier.
Yeah, no, you totally can as you stand up. And Kyalena, you just actively are always like investigating, going through things too. So this is what you notice. You're standing on the edge of a raised and broken causeway. It's definitely underneath some kind of hazy, like almost twilighty sky. But the causeway is built from these pale stones, and in the cracks, there's a glow faintly from within those cracks. Now, this towers over the surrounding landscape, but large sections of it in front of you have completely crumbled away. The parts that remain, though, in place are separated by large gaps where the portions have obviously collapsed. But underneath you, this frog-shrouded swamp spreads out below you in almost every direction. And up from it's basically up from the work. That's where the smell is coming from. You expect it to first be rotting plants, or whatever, but it's a nice smelling pine and other things that are pleasant. Um, but rising from the swamp is also a strange, almost concordant, very lolly music of nature that you've never ever heard before. It's almost like a slight, very untangible symphony of croaking frogs and singing birds. You've never experienced anything like this out in the thing, but it is almost musical, and it's very like strange to you.
Chris, you said we're on the broken bridge.
I'm going to show you where you are now. So as you guys go through, so by the way, everyone's books, including Eric, you would also feel this. Your books do start to vibrate, but they don't heat up. And if any of you go through to look through your book, you will see the map in front of you. That's there now. This is where all of you are. So if you go to Alba Rodeo, you're standing right here on the edge, right here. Now you are keep in mind, you are a good 80 feet up. This would be a fatal fall for the most part. Um, you're 8 stories up. It's a long way down. Now that the mist is starting to like go through as well, you actually see that there is a very large slanted, what looks like a very elaborate tower sitting over here. And then Kylena, you notice, and brother, you also notice this as well, that there is a balloon that's kind of going wildly to the north. It's going so fast though that you could never catch up with it, and it's heading further and further north as if it's going out of control in some way.
That balloon over by the tower.
Yes, but it's now tracking much farther north. Yeah. But yeah, it's going erratically fast and as if like it's out of control, essentially.
Is it getting lower?
It doesn't look like it's getting lower yet. It does not look like it's getting lower yet. No. And by the way, out of game now, everyone keep track of those numbers that you sent me in any of the rolls that you have. If you roll that number, let me know. It's definitely in your best interest to let me know, because if you don't and I catch it on you, there's a whole other mechanic that's not good.
Is
So
it
this is something that only exists here.
is it
So that
only
number's yep.
is it only when we roll our own number, or when the number is rolled
No. It's
ever?
it's only when you roll your own number. You only have to
Okay.
keep track of your own number. But this is just housekeeping. This is something that's supplemental and very cool that Chris did that didn't make it in the but so if you end up rolling those numbers though, just try to keep on top of that. If I catch it and you roll it, something else will happen, but it's only your rolls. But anyway,
Before or after modifiers?
it's this is before modifier, so it's just the straight up roll
Okay.
between 2 and 19. Yep, good question. So
What is this? I don't know if
the number that you chose right in the beginning between 2 and 19, that is now in play here. And so anytime you make a roll, any roll that you make yourself unmodified, just on the d20 dice, if you, for instance, if you chose 4, anytime a 4 hits that dice, you have to let me know. If you don't and I catch it on you, something else will happen, and you don't want that to happen. So this is an alternate rule within the Feywild, essentially. It's not really alternate. It's just this is one of the things that didn't make it, and so this is very cool though. And so that's why you just have to keep track of that number that you chose. So
All right, so sorry, we can pick it without rolling. We
no,
just
no,
pick
you
it.
only pick it once. Yeah, I think everyone. I think you messaged me, didn't you, Tyler? Hold on, maybe you didn't.
I did not. I messaged you about seeing if when brother came back if my eyes lit up.
Yeah, so anyone who didn't still message me. It's a number 2 through 19. So
I'm glad I picked a number on the higher end of things because I don't ever roll above like a 6.
yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. Okay. So, all right.
Oh,
Yep. So you guys are now standing on this very large causeway-like bridge. What would you like to do?
Um, is there like any way down that we can see?
So there's no real obvious way down besides climbing through the cracks in this crumbled bridge. Um, and that doesn't seem the safest bet. You could probably think of other ways down, but for now there's nothing obvious. There's no ladder or anything like that.
I have a ton, and by a ton I mean I've got like 6 or 7 grappling hooks. So we're 80
We won't
feet
need
up.
it.
You sure?
It's about what, 80 feet?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I've also got
80
like
feet.
400 feet of rope on me.
We have more than enough to give us an easy way down.
Plus I featherfall.
How far is it to the end of the bridge from where we are, or the like collapse portion?
So it's actually so that bridge does go on quite a bit, and as you start to look, you start to gauge that it's hundreds of feet, but it might even be longer than that. It could be as much as like a mile. As you start to look at it, it's very strange when you start to like assess your surroundings. Um, it's almost like things like grow and shrink a little bit on you, like your eyes deceive you a bit. So it's kind of hard to judge. You don't know if that's an effect or what, but from where you're at, it actually, like when you start walking, if you start to walk, Fintrix, to really start to assess this, it's miles above where you're at. So miles to where that break is.
Hmm.
Who has the ring of featherfall?
I think it's in the bag.
I think the last person to have it was Elda.
Is that an attunement thing or?
I think it's
It
you just
it is.
okay.
I'm pretty sure you have to attune to that, but yes.
And Kino said she had Featherfall.
I have Featherfall. Um,
Enough for the whole class, or?
yes.
You
Well,
could use the
enough
rope.
for 8 of you.
Technically,
don't
I
you
can
cast
also
Featherfall on her?
float myself down if we were one short.
Yeah, I've also got a way down myself, so
How far up are we again?
80 feet.
80 feet. 80 feet.
I could survive that.
Yeah, I could do.
Kino's gonna lean back and kind of look over brother, and in Draconic, she's just gonna whisper, "So, do you still go by brother?"
He just smiles.
Toothy grin.
That by the way, you guys notice that that balloon has started to be really, really sporadic, and it's come back your way as well. Kailana, you notice this.
Do I see anybody inside the balloon?
Doesn't look like there's anyone or anything inside the balloon when you start to look at it. And then, Kailana, as it passes, you notice there is a small puncture within it, and it has started to like very slowly but surely um, uh, go into like a kind of a spiral where it's descending. It looks like it's going to crash somewhere in the slanty tower or something.
But is there a person in the basket?
Doesn't seem like it when you look at it. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Guidance.
What do I do for guidance?
Add a D4.
Yep. 23 is good. Okay.
So
So
it would be
25?
25.
Yep. Okay, so you actually do hear a slight sound every time it comes through, like almost like when it comes back in this like spiraling circle that's going through, and you hear something to the effect of, "What is going on? What? I'm not built for this. This is making me sick." And and that's but you get broken pieces of that every time it goes through.
Hey guys, there's somebody in that rogue balloon that's flying around.
Well, I don't know how we're gonna help them.
Well, they're not doing a
Yeah,
very
that's-
good job of it.
Do we have a
What-
way of snagging the balloon? Like,
You should
Far
teleport
away.
on the back of it.
It's almost it's at least 500 feet, if not 600 feet away. Kylan is just really good at listening.
Oh,
You
well,
guys
yeah.
don't even hear this.
He's a really
It's
good
just
listener.
Kylena that hears it. Yeah, you don't even hear this, but Kylena does. She's paying close attention. So
I'm also gonna pull out the sending stone that Yajandra gave me,
Now,
and
we're looking for the place that Brother's been, correct, or has to go. Have you been to any place like this before, Brother?
Well, I haven't.
we
Mitch, I don't think
know
I've
the
gotten
place.
that information yet.
Hmm.
well, no, you have never been to a place like this before, brother.
We're looking for my item.
Yep. You are tasked. The whole point was coming to find Kino's item. That is correct, Kino. The that said though, uh the other thing that you started to notice, by the way, is that even from the bottom, there is life and movement down where you see these kind of large frog like people sometimes going through. And by people I mean they're sometimes they're humanoids, and they're like bouncing up and down, but they're big for frogs, and they actually look a little more humanoid than frogs. You see some of those. You also see that there are what look like small humanoid thing, maybe halflings, maybe gnomes, you're not sure. So there's life going on around this area here. One thing that you notice, and by the way, everyone can look at the map now because they would have noticed by this point their books have filled this in. On that weird tower, or whatever, there are these really like really sharp, brambly like things. And at this point, the balloon catches one of them, completely pops, and then the basket gets caught up in these brambles.
Is there a way to tell how far the basket looks like it's off the ground once the balloon pops?
I mean, you can't really tell from this distance, but it doesn't look like it's too high up. You would guess maybe it's somewhere between 50 and 20 feet. So still pretty high, but not like terribly high.
Do we
It's definitely smaller than where you guys are from the bridge. So
Okay. Did you guys want to try and check on the balloon then? Make sure whoever was in there was okay? Or do we leave well enough alone?
I mean, we still need to figure out how we're getting down.
We also need directions to Prismere, because I don't actually know how to get there.
We are in Prismere.
So then, I mean, if there's somebody who needs help, then maybe we can get a hold of them and get some answers. Or directions. at least.
One of you have powers of magic that could bring us down first?
I'm going to cast Sending to Ejandra, and I'm going to say, I arrived in the Feywild via the carnival. We are in a fragment of Prismere, awaiting location of the item and description.
after around 5 minutes of uncomfortable silence, you do get a message back saying, "Wonderful. Where exactly are you though in Prismere? I need a detailed assessment of your surroundings."
So we were given two of the names, Hither and Thither. Eliwick couldn't remember the name of the third one, and we weren't given any physical descriptions of either.
Yep. So after around 2 minutes or so, she says, "No, it's fine. Just tell me what you see now."
All right. I will say, I will basically describe in 25 words the bridge, the tower.
Yep.
Basically, it's everything of note that I can see, as well as the swamp and our altitude.
Yep. After 5 minutes, she responds back and says, "This is a real problem. There is no swamp that I know about in Prismere. What the hell has happened? Try to get more information and message me back."
Um, can I get a description of the item in the meantime?
Yep. She so no response. Do you want to send it again?
I'll just respond back to her. I will keep you updated.
And she responds back and says, "Thanks." But you do think to yourself, because you're crossing planes of existence, message is not 100% reliable. You do remember that.
I would repeat it then.
Yeah. She sends back after like 2 minutes, and she says, the item you're looking for is a statue of a crystal dragon."
Noted. We'll keep you updated. Thank you. Roughly what size?
Response.
Roughly what size?
You do this like 3 times, and she finally messages you back, and she says, it's around palm sized, and then she says, I need to do some things, but I will message you soon."
Thank you. I will let you know when I find more out.
Okay. And so what's the plan for the party on next steps on getting down?
Well, if we can't all get Featherfall, I have no issues. Just kind of, it's like swamp underneath us directly, right? Those look like some weird type of lily pads.
It does look like it's swamp and stuff, yes. Yep.
I could just Misty Step my way and negate some of the damage and slam into the water. I'm fine with it.
Let's not even touch the water.
I could levitate myself down to a flatter space, and I can't telekinesis all the way up, but I could grab people if they jump off and grab them and slowly bring them to the ground once they get 60 feet away from me.
All right, it's not 8, it's 5. I was thinking of teleportation. So I can pick 5 falling creatures within 60 feet of me.
I have my faith in Whirl. I can do his thing, and you guys can get down the other way.
I think Henri's safe because she's in Grin's backpack.
I can also polymorph myself into like a bird.
Ooh, could you polymorph me?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
You want to be a bird?
Could I be a duck?
Yeah, I can make you into a duck.
That's awesome.
Something a little bit bigger.
A big duck.
Ooh,
A
could it be a
goose?
vulture?
A swan.
Something someone else could ride on, perhaps.
Calm down, Kino.
Yeah,
Just kind of shoot her a wink.
Like
feather fall no one.
what if I just
No,
jump then?
I mean, that was going to be my plan. You want to do it together?
Let's go.
Oh, no, yeah. If you want to make me something large enough that I can transport people down, I can take the time to take everybody back and forth. I don't mind. How long does a spell last for?
An hour.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely do that then.
I think we established a giant owl might be good for that.
Yes, owls are good for that. I know from experience.
Ivar would be kneeling down, trying to assess the best way to climb down, since he's not really sure that the group is able to get us down any other way. He's quietly just kind of looking.
Yeah, and by the way, when you do look, you also notice the same thing. The cracks have this weird glowing through it. But it's climbable, probably, you think to yourself.
I stand by being polymorphed into an owl. That sounds like a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we all think that's a good idea? Do we want to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, seems like a good plan to me.
You guys figure out who wants to go down first, just to make sure it's safe, and then
I could also float down with whoever goes down first, so we have a few more people there in case it's very dangerous.
it's up to you guys.
Well, one of them's definitely going to be me.
I'll go too.
Okay.
Brother?
I'll follow along, though I might be my own trip.
You don't get wings with this new look?
Put it to the test.
Not with this one.
Upgrade later.
Also, where on the do we want to do it here? Do we want to do it at the end? What are we thinking?
Well, how far away from us does it look like that balloon is, too?
Oh, it's far at this point. It's a little
Yeah?
deceiving. Yeah, it's
Okay.
far.
I didn't want to like Tolkien this, and I could have just owled my way all the way to the end and called it a day.
Is
You could.
the
I mean, you
scale-
totally could fly. You totally could fly to it, but as an owl, by the way.
So I'm saying, do we want to just cut the trip short and get as close to the thing as we can, or do we want to stay back a couple miles, or like?
I think
Because
we
I don't
stick
just have to
together.
take us straight to the ground. I can ferry people a good distance. Unless we just want to focus on getting to the ground first and then figure out what to do from there. That's also.
Chris, that thing that says scale in miles at the bottom, is that like actually 5 miles from?
It is accurate. The problem though is that so that's your map that you have. It's not. You'll find that once you start looking through that, it's not entirely accurate. Sometimes when things look like they're 5 miles on the map, because the map for whatever reason is not to scale in your book, um, the scale itself as you start to like because you have the bridge to look at this, and the bridge is not exactly 3 miles from where you're at. It's actually shorter. So it's not entirely reliable. That might be so it could be 5 miles away. It could only be two or one. You're not exactly sure. That's the first thing that you start to notice is that the scales are all messed up here, but it's at least something to go by. It doesn't mean that it's always accurate. So to answer your question, no, it's not exactly accurate.
Okay. If Fentrix and one other person want to go scout ahead the balloon, while the rest of us get down to ground level, why don't we do that?
That's not a bad idea.
Who's gonna ride Fentrix over to the balloon?
I could. It might, if we're gonna be scouting though, it might want to be Kylena because she's better at scouting.
That's
I
a
do
good
like that
idea.
idea.
All right, I'll go with Whirl and Fentrix then.
All right, so explain what you guys are doing. So Fentrix is going to be polymorphed, and you're going to ride on him.
Yeah, you can carry 2 people.
Yep.
That aren't heavy as a giant owl, so.
Yep.
I'd be able to take the 2 of them easy.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I'm going to be polymorphing Fentrix.
All right, great. So,
And the rest of us will use Kino's Featherfall.
Yes.
okay, that makes sense. So,
Well, and Henri will be in my backpack, so.
yep. No, that's fine. Yeah. So, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll do the owl first. So, you go ahead and do your polymorph, and you know, you do start to transform. This is the first time you've actually felt the effects of polymorph. It's a little terrifying at first, but you get used to it, and it does transform you into a giant owl successfully. Um, uh, Tell me the route you want to try to take people on Fentrix, or what do you guys want to decide as far as flying?
Well, would you? I guess I can't communicate with them. I'm an owl.
So that's so now that you're an owl, exactly. So you can't. Um, Although Henri, you can still use magical means to talk if you would like,
I can also do a little bit of that. Let me what level of the thing?
or you just decide, Fentrix, how you want to do this. You
I
can
like
no, you still understand common, you just can't talk back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do a thing where I make a telepathic connection with people. I forget how many it is, so I was gonna double check that.
Sure.
And so it's one creature, so I can just make it with Fentrix the owl, and he can understand us, and I can relay to Kylena anything that he says.
That's not a bad idea.
Cool. Okay.
So should we just do like a straight path? Quickest way there, quickest way back?
Yeah, I was thinking that wouldn't be a bad idea. I can keep you guys far enough back because you have as ironic as it is, you got the eagle eyes. So I can get you close enough to where you can kind of get a good examination as to what's going on before we try and get any closer.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
All right. So, okay. So, do me a favor too. You can put a token on the map. Oh, looks like you have it. And then just show me your flight. So if here is actually where the balloon is,
Okay.
right there.
So then I'd probably go to like right about there-ish, but keep like 30 to 40 feet off the ground so there's no like danger of anything.
Okay. So as you get close, you do hear slight like things being spoken in common, saying, "Hello, anyone out there? I am in need of assistance."
We just want to go down and help him.
The noise does seem to be coming from the basket, but you can't really see anything unless you want to try to position yourself so you can see inside the basket, um, which can be
Yeah,
done.
I can do that for them. I can lower a little bit if that's what need be so they can peer into the basket and have their conversation.
All right. So you get closer and you get just above where the basket is hanging, and sure enough, within the basket there is a small silver cage. Within that small silver cage is some kind of pinkish purplish uh like thing with wings. Both of you give me a perception check.
That's about
Owl, you
right.
can't do a perception check.
Yeah, you can do one too. Of course, you can do one as well. Yep.
Oh, I gotta find the stat block for a giant owl. Give me a second.
Yep.
Oof.
What did we get?
I got an
I got a
8.
9.
All
Just
right, so
counting on
there
Kylena doing the heavy lifting here.
Yeah, sorry,
something
that
that
was
looks
real bad.
no worries. Something that looks like a pinkish, purplish, maybe fairy. You're not exactly sure. Something like that. It has fairy-like wings, but there's a big silver cage, and you can't really see more than that. The bars are kind of like in the middle, so
There's a
you would
13
see
on
the
here.
same thing. Yeah, you would see
Yeah.
about the same thing. Um, and since you guys are close enough, the thing she says, "Oh, wait, I'm here. I need assistance. My name is Sir Talavar, and um, please help."
I'll wait
I
for.
say we see what's going on. This doesn't seem overly dangerous in the moment.
Is he?
He said, as
He
you
said
get closer, by the way, he does say, "Wiggle Wog, is that you?"
Wiggle what?
You say if you say that out loud, he says, "Doesn't sound like Wiggle Wog. Who goes there?"
Not Wiggle Wog.
He says, "Madam, my name is Sir Talavar. I am a noble fairy dragon knight and emissary of Titania, and I need your assistance, if you don't mind."
Can I look towards the ground? Is there anything like that looks like it's remotely hostile around us?
There's nothing around you, actually. The only thing that looks dangerous is these very large vines that have very sharp looking, kind of dangerous spikes. The spikes are dripping some kind of liquid. It's a murky, dark liquid, and they certainly look like they're dangerous. Um, and and Sir Talavar, when he doesn't hear anything else, he says, I'm in a bit of a predicament, and if I were you, I would not touch those spines. Plus, this whole damned thing moves, so just be careful as you get closer."
I could. Whirl. I know Whirl can hear me, right? Like telepathically.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could put you guys in and try and pull the balloon off myself, right? I don't know because there's the cage, so I don't know how we'd get him out of the cage otherwise, unless like Kylena has a better idea.
Before we go any closer, let me just look around a bit more. And Kylena is going to pull out the Gem of Seeing and use one of the charges to get true sight.
So so you go ahead and take the gem out, and as you go through and start looking through the gem, sure enough, it doesn't look like there are any kind of illusions or invisible creatures nearby. Whenever you look through the gem in this area too, what you do notice is that uh, the colors are actually just a tad dimmer than the vibrance that you see around you. But there's no illusion per se. It's just something that's a little alarming. The colors are just slightly muted when you look through that gem. Other than that, though, so far you've not seen any invisible creatures or anything that looks like it's an obvious illusion through the gem. And you start looking around and going through it. Sure enough, everything looks like it is. But you can still keep that active for now. It lasts 10 minutes, correct?
Yeah.
Charge, yeah, yeah. But even him and the cage still look like they do through the gem.
Right. It also shows any shape changers or creatures transformed by magic, and he's not, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Ventrix is.
No, what? I'm transformed.
I don't actually does it actually show polymorph though? It's
It's a
interesting. It
transformation, but
might.
I'd assume it would.
Yeah, it might actually show. If that's the case, then you would just see Fentrix as he is. I'll look that up. That's interesting. But yeah.
Just
No,
I'm
but
scared of
there's
my
no other polymorph or any other illusion here. Let's see.
So if the call's on you guys, I could put you down and try and free the balloon.
I could potentially get the balloon to move a little bit by controlling the wind. Because that's a thing that I can do. I could make a bit of an updraft to make the balloon part move a little bit, but probably try to do it not so much to make it float away.
Well, I think he said it's less than 60 feet off the ground. He said it was like 20 to 50. So I could put you on the ground and still do that because I can't carry much more than the two of you without it becoming problematic.
Also, the balloon is definitely popped and deflated, so I don't know how much you'd be able to move it.
I was just going to use the talons to try and grab the strings or the chains that connect the balloon to the rest of it and pull them off of that.
Well, I meant with the wind, since it's not inflated anymore.
No, I
Yeah.
get that.
We could try that then.
Okay. If so if you're going to use the talons to pull the basket and try to rip it out from the area to free it, you would just have to make an athletics check with the actual owl stat
Yeah.
while you're
so
flying.
It'll just be
Yep.
a d20 plus 1.
Yep.
Have we floated down yet?
That was an
Yeah,
8.
yeah, you would have hit. So you try as you might as you go through it. Not only are you not able to free it that way, but also you notice that the essentially vines and talons and these sharp objects between the actual balloon, they start to actually grip on a little tighter as if they're holding it now and struggling with you. So it's making it a bit worse.
And there's no is there a
And
way it looks like the cage?
as you start doing that, it says, "Don't make it angry."
Okay. Does it look like the cage he's in opens from anywhere?
It doesn't look like it opens. It looks like he's trapped inside the cage. So the basket is wide open, but the cage that he's in, the silver cage, it looks like he's locked inside of it.
So does it look like I can get somebody else inside the basket?
Yeah, you could get someone inside the basket. It might be a little dangerous with the vines and these sharp things, but you could totally do it.
Okay. I'd like to land and relay that information to Whirl, since I can't
Yep.
speak to Kylena directly. But I would also like to let you know that I'm gonna go back and start to grab the others and bring them closer
Yep.
to here. If you guys want me to do that.
Quick,
Yeah,
quick
go ahead.
question. I apologize
Yes.
for interrupting. Because something I
No.
want to do role playing wise and also tactically. If we when we were going to use a feather fall, if we
Yeah.
haven't already, if I want to do retroactive, he will say, "Stop before we go down. Allow me to prepare us." And then I want to pull out my viol and I'm going to do a motivational speech. I can do up to 5 people that are with me.
Yep.
And I have, he says, we fall upon this strange swamp place, Lord guide our path, and soft and gentle as a maiden's lace. Ward us against any who dare oppose us. If attacked, pound them into pus. That's it. So everyone gets 5 people, whoever was with me, get 5 hit points. If they get hit, the next round they get advantage on attack, and they get advantage on saving throws versus wisdom.
Cool.
Lasts for 1 hour.
And by the way, since we're going to resolve that in a second because it's happening all at the same time, is the intention for everyone to kind of like be walking over while all this is happening, or did you just want to like scout out the area and stay where you were?
Yeah, I'd like to convene as soon as possible.
Okay, so you guys are making your way through. One of
Yeah.
the things we'll do this right now and then get back to the owl too. So one of the things that happens, so when you guys start to feather fall down, that smell of pine starts to get much stronger, and as your feet start to hit, it is murky and muddy. It's not so bad that you're gonna have problems walking, but if it gets any worse or gets any like if there's more water or swampiness or whatever, you actually will have problems and it'll probably be difficult terrain for you. For now, it's okay. And as you hit down, there is a wide open area, and you notice that your friends are kind of farther than you expected them to be. It's hundreds of feet away, so you guys are gonna have to make like double time if you want to like get there anytime soon. The good news is where you land right now, there's none of those frogs are around, and there's just not much going on here besides just swamp. But you can very clearly now see your friends up ahead. You see the owl. You see that whole thing with the owl like struggling going through it. Is the idea everyone want to try to hurry to around there because it's only going to take 5-10 minutes if you guys hurry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can. Yeah.
Okay, so as they're hurrying over, with you guys, one of the things that you also hear again from the thing is like, by the way, I think I saw these two large serpents on the ground, so be careful, because if we wake them up, they'll probably eat me and all of you. So just be careful.
That is good to know. How far from the
I
ground
think
did
they're
you
sleeping in
say?
the brambles. How
How far
far?
away? How far away did
It's
you
like
say
30
the
feet.
basket was?
30 feet, so 3 stories. It's still 3 stories high. It's still pretty high,
Yeah.
but not terrible. He says, if they put the squeeze on you, just holler out, because they're going to devour me next.
Do we see any snakes about, or just the vines?
So you start looking around. Perception check for both of you.
Am I still close enough to help?
Yeah, you're close enough too. You hear this? You can start looking.
Oops.
You got the
Ignore
eight.
the religion check. That was a bad thing. I rolled a
Oh,
9.
okay.
There's
Ooh, I got a
Kylena.
9 too.
Was that a nat 20, Kyla?
Yeah, that was a nat 20.
Okay, so so no one sees anything but brambles, but here's what you see, Kylena. There are, sure enough, two giant snakes that have some kind of camouflaged ability. Their eyes are closed. They do look like they're sleeping. You only notice this because they were slowly breathing. They look identical to these very large brambles, but they are snakes and they're big. And if they attack you, it would be bad. These you actually, your breath catches as you notice these things. They are massively big. They must be, if they were end to end, at least 100 feet, maybe 200. You're not exactly sure. These are nasty things. So you are gonna have to be a little careful and maybe quiet now.
I let Whirl know as quietly as I can and kind of point out like the general area of where they are, understanding that he probably can't actually see them. And
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I imagine I'm used to that feeling where of Kylena just being like, "There's something over there," and Moral's being like, "Yep, yeah, I bet there is."
He says, I think they unfortunately ate Wigglewog.
You can wiggle warg.
I could try to use telekinesis to grab the cage and then get away from the snakes.
Yeah, that'll totally work.
I'm gonna need to shuffle around sorcery points and spell slots to do that.
Well, the other thing, keep in mind, you're gonna have to get back on the owl, and because you have to see it, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll have to get back on the owl and get into a vantage point where you can see it, but that will work.
I do like that head rotate thing that owls can do, where they can turn their head like all the way around at like 180 degrees. Can I see the other
Yep.
guys coming?
You can see them. They're way off in the distance, but they're coming.
Okay.
Whirl, can you let Fentrix know, or has he gotten too far away?
I can communicate within up to 9 miles, so
Yep.
I would let him know about snakes telepathically.
And maybe tell him not to bring everybody else back over here unless we want to fight giant snakes.
Yeah. Keeping distance.
I mean, I
'cause
kind of do.
that I would believe that.
I mean, it's a challenge, right? I think Grin would be up for it.
Better tell us soon. We're headed over.
Yeah, I would be relaying that and Kylena's warnings to Fentrix the owl.
Okay. With that, then when I catch up to them, I'd kind of like, instead of trying to pick anybody up, I just kind of land at whoever was in the front of the pack and hold my wings out. That's to try and like to get people to stop moving.
Yep.
They can't really communicate.
Probably Grin, since I'm the fastest.
Also, danger sense.
Yep.
And every time you try to like walk past me or around me, I'll just like sidestep. Keep a wing in front of your face.
Well, I want to ask you what the danger is, but you can't talk, right?
Nope. I was just gonna shake my head.
Do you still need to be an owl? Like, is this still a thing that needs to be happening?
I'll shake my head no.
Should we un-owl him?
Do you want to be Fentrix again?
I'll shake my head no.
Okay, he just wants to be an owl.
Okay.
All right with it.
Kino, your boyfriend's an owl now.
I hope you like feathers.
Okay. Well, wait. There's serpents up ahead, or we shouldn't go ahead. Why not?
I can't communicate anything else with you.
I'm just gonna peek around Alfentrix.
Is there danger?
I'll kind of let out like a hoot, because now that Amber mentions it, I don't think I can necessarily nod all that well as an owl.
Is there danger that Kylena and Whirl are going to need help with?
I'll shake my head no, but then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fly back to the two of them in case I do need to fly them out. And I'll just kind of land behind Whirl.
Okay, do we stay or follow them? Follow him.
No, we just stay right here. Don't make too much noise.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch the perimeter.
Okay.
As
The-
Fentrix,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as Fentrix approached, I'd use the telepathic thing to be like, I think the plan is for me to use telekinesis to grab the cage and then back away.
Fair enough.
But
let
I'll need to ride you to see the cage to grab it.
Well, if you're just using telekinesis to pull, then I can have Kylena come back on too, and then we don't have to worry about the snakes at all.
Also a good point.
Okay. So you guys climb back on Fentrix?
Yep.
All right, so you both climb back on Fentrix, and Fentrix, you fly up just at the right angle where you can now see the silver cage. You go ahead and cast telekinesis, and you can effortlessly bring this cage up. And as you do this, Sir Talavar says, "Oh, this is good. This is good." And as he sees you, he says, "Oh, hello." And sure enough, it does look like a small fairy dragon. This is how he looks. I'm going to put it in Discord for everyone. If only Discord was. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'll fix this next time. You guys do not see it in Discord yet, right?
Nope.
All right. This is what it looks like. This is what he looks like. Let's see. So he says, you should see it any minute. He says, "Hello, I am Sir Talavar. You've come to rescue me. This is wonderful."
Yes, Sir Talavar. My name is Whirl. And
You said, yep,
we're trying to get you away from the giant snakes. That seemed giant.
he says, "Yes, they would have swallowed me whole for sure. Thank you so much." He says, I am a knight errant of the Sealy Court, and the Summer Queen will be very pleased that you rescued me. Not so pleased, however, that Zablina appears to be usurped by these awful hag queens. But, well, I'm sorry. Your name again, sir?
My name is Whirl.
And he looks at you as well, Kylena. He says, and your name, madam?"
Hi.
"Hello." He says, "Well, I see. Not giving you your name. I guess that's astute. And you have a nice giant bird here."
Yeah, this is our friend. We turned him into an owl to fly around. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
He says, "Wonderful." He says, "Now we just need to get that damned key from Jingle Jangle, and we'll be off."
Great. Well, we're going to take you to meet our other friends, I think.
He says, "Wonderful." And we are we're actually over time, guys. So if you want, we can leave it there for now. Surprisingly, we did not actually get to the Tailspire portion, but that will be coming up very, very soon. And most of this will be in Tailspire after that, I assume. But cool deal. All right. So let's see. Is there anything that people want to do, like bookkeeping wise, or anything before we end the session?
Eric, would you like character descriptions from everyone?
That would be
Yeah, we
great.
unfortunately did not get a chance to do that. Yeah.
Didn't we
Yeah.
do that in our our little practice discussion?
Oh
We-
yeah.
We did.
We did a little bit. We did in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
very beginning, but we didn't do it in the session. Yeah.
I kind of know, but I mean, description would be appropriate.
Yep.
And as a reminder, because we may forget for next session, 5 hit points for 5 of the people that went down on the Featherfall spell. Right,
Yes.
with all those other little goodies there.
Yep, I have that on my D&D Beyond page.
So is it not the same thing as inspiring leader?
It is different. So, inspired leaders more hit points and only hit points and all day. This is only for an hour, but then also you get wisdom saving throw advantage, and then also if you get hit, your next attack you get advantage back.
Yeah, which
And
is pretty cool.
It expires when you lose those 5 hit points.
Perfect.
Yep.
I threw the art for Ventrix in with what Kyla did in our chat, so you can
That's
see
perfect. Yeah, it's a lot easier than describing, I guess, huh?
that. Yeah.
Very cool. I haven't seen these. Oh yeah, I've seen Henry. Henry, how do you say it?
Honor.
And yeah, Grin, it's awesome also.
This one I don't have the code on anymore, but I'm in full plate still.
I stole the coat. It's mine now.
Yes, Ventrix is wearing
He's
this winter
fabulous.
coat.
It's like Kino's Letterman jacket that she gave to Fentrix.
Yeah.
Aw, you
Very
guys are
much
sharing
so.
clothes.
They're going steady.
She gave my gift away immediately. It was so fucked up. I was like, "Yo, have this mace," and she was like, "Okay, here, Grin."
To be fair, the
Damn.
first thing he did with that mace was come after the eggs, so
Damn, that's fucked up.
Gross.
so I might have to take it back eventually when I get a chance.
And then as a reminder, so Caroline is the rogue, right?
Yes, I am Kylena the Rogue.
Okay, and then Fentrix is paladin.
Paladin the Tiamat. Yeah.
Okay, and Henri's a sorcerer.
Henri's a wizard. Divination wizard.
I was batting 1,000 a second ago. And then Grin's the barbarian.
Barbarian with a single level of Paladin.
A little bit of smitey action. And then did I see 2 names?
So I'm Kino. Umbra is the character I play tomorrow in Group B. Kino is a conquest paladin with 1 level of sorcerer.
And you're human?
I am high elf.
High elf, okay.
Yeah, the same with my name is that Pan is the character that I play in Group B on Mondays.
Gotcha, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, Umbra.
I'm missing some people, right?
And then Whirl and Brother.
They don't have pictures?
Yeah, I think Brother has new art coming too, by the way.
Yeah.
Brothers got posted in the
Group
wow,
chat.
thank you. Words were hard for a second there.
Kino almost walked into a few posts today, just because she's been watching Brother. She's like, "What the hell is this?"
Damn.
Plot twist,
Fentrix
Fentrix
can
is
get
actually a
jealous.
lizard folk. He's not a
Not like that.
You
Yeah,
guys also
no.
forget that the
You
blue
versus
boy's
the
a hedonist.
Dragonborn she told you not to worry about.
I mean, hey, Kino's had something for Fentrix that she hasn't gotten a chance to give him yet since she won it.
Gross.
So
Wow.
And that's
maybe-
Brother, right?
And then does
Yes.
Whirl have art?
Yeah, so Brother used to look like essentially like a standard Warforged. This is new, whatever this is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, World
It's
doesn't
still
have art.
mechanical. It's still mechanical in nature. It's still all of it is still very mechanical. None of it looks necessarily organic, but it's done really, really well to the point that it's almost looks like it could be.
He's synthetic. He's an android. Take him out.
He's a synth.
Yeah, take him out. Take him out. No railroad for you.
But yeah, Whirl doesn't have art yet. One of my friends really wanted to do it, but she's been super busy and hasn't had time yet.
That's fine.
But Air Genasi, everything is blue. I got cool hair, and I'm the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer.
Cool.
Nice, okay.
Did we get Kylena? Did you describe your character?
Kylena posted Amber posted Kylena's art.
Oh, that's right. I see it now. Sorry. Yep. Awesome.
Looking
This
super good.
dragon has me so fucked up. I hate its face so much.
You can't talk about my art like that.
The dragon looks like he's got a boot on one of his hands and then an actual glove on the other.
Just wait till I
Yeah.
get there.
Whatever this thing is, I hate it.
Yep.
I don't like its little human face. I don't like its hands.
I like the
I
mustache.
don't like its semi-human anatomy. It
Yeah.
makes it feel like it's being censored, and it makes me uncomfortable.
No.
It's like you ever get one of those things where it's like the outline of a picture and it tells you to draw its face, but you're not like talented in drawing.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like one of those.
Amanda, I just want to point out that I'm already getting messages going, who the hell is that? With Brother's new art. So we've definitely piqued some suspicion.
I did notice that Sia reacted to it.
Yeah, I got a couple of those too.
Yep.
Are you
All right,
gonna
cool,
tell
guys. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thanks
no.
for coming to the
Event
session.
time.
And we'll like I said, next session there will be way more within Tailspire as well. The way that I have things built right now is that anywhere where there's imminent combat, obviously we'll be doing Tailspire. But a lot of these other things where there needs to be some kind of visual exploration, you'll see we'll have that in there too.